Hello everybody and welcome back to the greatest live show of all time. That is right everybody. Now today we're going to be talking about the Twitch drama. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, I know you've already read the title and you're thinking, is this Femyoz person, I don't know, batshit crazy or something? And the answer to that question is, you better believe I am. But the title is not exactly what you think it is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh yeah, no, Twitch has never done anything wrong. There's a reason I'm streaming on YouTube and Kick, but not Twitch. It's because I don't like Twitch very much. I think Twitch is actually kind of cringe. I know, I said it. That being said, they had a new policy that they were going to implement that people just threw a complete temper tantrum over. Now, I will say that the title is kind of a lie because Twitch did do something wrong in this situation. And it was, they basically just caved in and fucking gave up. So they made their policy better by making it more lenient, which is a good thing. And then they backtracked. So they actually did do something wrong, but it's not what people are saying. Now, I've seen some videos about the Twitch drama, and it's fucking stupid. It's people having mental breakdowns over the biggest non-issue of all time. Now, a video I haven't seen is the one from Moist Critical. It's called New Twitch Policy is Crazy. Now, it is from 9 days ago, but again, I haven't seen it. So, without further ado, let's get started. Oh, one more thing that I need to mention. I always make sure to include timestamps in the description below, so if you want to skip around for whatever wacky reason, you are more than welcome to do so. But yeah, anyways, let's get started, shall we?
Twitch just announced a policy update change that was so surprising that I felt I needed to do something shocking just to get into the same spirit. So I threw my hair into a messy man bun. Surprise! Twitch announced that it's going to be loosening its policy on sexual content, trying to—
Based! Fucking based. That's what they should do. Again, I don't see why there's a huge issue with them literally going in the correct direction, which is to make their TOS less strict. People complain all the time because Twitch, and rightfully so, people complain that Twitch is too strict and that they don't enforce their TOS consistently, sort of similar to how, say, for instance, the USSR used to enforce its laws. It would have a very vague set of laws that were loosely enforced, but they were really used to target people that the government didn't like. That's basically what it boiled down to. And Twitch does something similar where they have a vague set of policies that they don't actually enforce consistently, but they do use them to basically fuck over whoever they want. That's what they do. And even with that, they ban people who don't really break TOS. So that's the main issue with Twitch. But here they are becoming less strict, which is a good thing, and people are complaining about it, which is fucking pathetic. Why are you comparing it to the USSR? Because it's a similar concept with the way rules are created and enforced, where basically you have really vague rules or sets of policies that are specifically used to, on people that, whatever it may be, whoever's in power doesn't like, basically, right? So there might be a law that everybody broke in the USSR, or that most people broke, but they only use it to punish people that are politically inconvenient. So, sort of a similar thing with how Twitch enforces its policies, where a lot of people break their policies, but they only ban people that are not as advertiser friendly, or that are not considered beneficial for their platform in a monetary sense. Oh, I agree with you. I just thought it was a strange example. Yeah, it's a strange example, but it's a good one. Except for Boogie, no one wants to see that. I mean, hey, if it's artistic, it's artistic. I'm not gonna be inconsistent here. Nah, in all seriousness, I mean, it's just something I don't give a shit about.
To give clarity on what is and isn't allowed when it comes to sexual content on Twitch, and they are announcing that you can now have deliberately highlighted breast, buttocks, or pelvic region as long
Based! Fucking based! Why is anyone mad about this?
as this stream has a content classification label, which is a label that just lets users know that there is sexual themes present. And
Yeah, so not only are they allowing this, but they're also making it so that, okay, yeah, if you're gonna do this, it needs to be labeled a certain way so that people that don't want to see this don't have to see it. What's the problem with this? Why are people upset about this?
And as long as the content is artistic, nudity is permitted. As long as it's
Now, I do think that whether or not something is artistic is going to be arbitrary and somewhat subjective. So that's sort of the only discrepancy that I have, is that I think that nudity in general should be okay. It should, like, what does it mean for something to be artistic? I mean, this sort of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where, and by earlier I mean like a minute ago, where they'll use something really vague and subjective so that they can sort of just randomly decide who they do and don't want on their platform, regardless of whether or not they follow the TOS. But yeah. Hey, Femi, will you do a nude censor live on Twitch? I will pay to see that. I'm probably not, but I mean, hey, it's tempting.
artistic in nature, it has Twitch's stamp of approval to exist. New York Times gives it 2 thumbs way up from the Twitch headquarters, as long as there is artistic context around the nudity that is presented. So Christmas really did come early for hog squeezers this year, and it also applies to animated depictions of nudity, drawn, sculpted, modeled, any of that. And even goes beyond that. There's also a guideline update to what dances are allowed when it comes to like sexually suggestive dance moves.
Based?
They stated that twerking, grinding, and pole dancing are now allowed without a label. I mean,
Based!
for some reason, when I read this, I just envisioned them doing like a press conference, like the president coming out, he just stands at the podium, twerking, it's okay. And then like some people start clapping. Now, while they may explain that these
I would be one of the people clapping, by the way.
dance moves are allowed, there's still no word from the Twitch higher-ups on whether or not my special dance moves will be permitted, or if they're still a little too hot for Twitch to handle and will lead to an instant ban. Yep. The hot dog hoedown. Charles White
Hell
classic.
yeah.
Oh,
Let's
what's that?
go.
The Habbo Hotel True Combo?
I don't know, I think that might be a little bit too sexual for Twitch, let's be real.
And then the last major change they announced is that they're going to be revising how the homepage recommends content, so you won't be seeing mature recommendations on your homepage anymore. These are pretty much
These are good changes, and people got mad about this.
all the major guideline changes that have been presented, but I want to get into the weeds of them because there's quite a lot to unpack. First and foremost, though, the reason why all of this has come out is in response to a controversy that's been going on for like the last week or so on Twitch. I'm sure most of you have seen the headlines. There's been a new Twitch meta that blew up on the platform, where some women would appear to be topless on stream and do certain movements in order to make their titties jiggle. Though you couldn't see the nipple, it was implied below the camera frame, so you just saw the top of their bare necessities and everything.
Like, why is this a controversy? Who fucking cares? It's nothing. It's literally nothing. It's like, oh yeah, you have fucking people dying in Israel because the Israeli government is committing a fucking genocide, and people are mad because there's a little bit of cleavage. Oh God, what will we ever do? It's fucking mind-bogglingly stupid.
Everything else was assumed nudity, implied. This right here is the pioneer of the meta. Her name is Morgpie.
Literally, who fucking cares? Like, oh no, this is against my Christian conservative values. We can't have any implied nudity. Heaven forbid we see a little bit of cleavage every now and again. Oh no.
She really blazed the trails here and carved a new path in the Twitch ecosystem for this branch of content. So again, basically, as you saw from the picture, it was...
Do you at least know why they're mad, though? Yeah, because they're fucking pathetic losers that get mad over everything. Like, there's nothing to get mad over. It's a nothing burger. It's like, oh no, there's cleavage on Twitch. Why the fuck would any reasonable person care? They wouldn't. They just wouldn't.
Was appearing as though she was completely topless, and would interact with the chat and then sometimes do like certain movements to really get the boobies moving. In the words of a wise man, them thangs be thangin'. And this led to a lot of discussion on, is this allowed on Twitch? What is Twitch's policy when it comes to content like this? Does this have the green light, or is it flying under the radar? What's going on? So this prompted Twitch to make these guideline changes to bring clarity to it. They did ban Morgpie as well as a couple other streamers who did this type of content, this meta.
Which is cringe. They shouldn't have banned them, right? So again, the title's a little bit of a lie. Twitch is not perfect. I don't like it as a platform, but again, in terms of what people, at least a lot of people, have been criticizing Twitch for, being like, oh no, it's too sexual. That Twitch is not doing anything wrong in allowing the content, right? Again, I take a very consistent position of, I think that way more content should be allowed on every social media platform, and there just needs to be less censorship in general.
But then they came forward with more clarification on what they permit, and that's what we just went over today. Before diving into my perspective, giving you my opinion from my small little noodle brain, I do want to mention two quick things. The first, our podcast is somehow the #5 biggest podcast in the world on Spotify.
Look, man, I don't have anything against you, but I don't care.
We're starting to catch up to Joe Rogan, bite at his heels here.
Okay, now I do care. I want him to catch up to Joe Rogan and pass him. Never mind.
The Red Thread is a podcast that I run with Windigoon and Jackson. It's all about cryptids, conspiracies, cold cases, and cults. I just had to quickly mention this because this had me.
They hate it because they ain't getting bitches. True. People get mad about twerking, but they still jerk off when they see some booty claps. Literally. It's like they get mad and then they go jerk off. Like, it's pathetic.
Smiling all morning to see the Red Thread pop off like this. I'll put a link to the Spotify in the description as well as the YouTube channel that we post all of it on, in case any of you are curious in checking it out. And then the other thing I want to quickly mention is that our Dungeons and Dragons campaign,
I don't care.
Save any of the streaming, is going to be a link to that channel in the description as well. Massive W, no matter how you spin it, is that they'll no longer be recommending mature content on Twitch as well. Alright, that's all for the updates. Let's get back to the Twitch policy. I will say one change that I think is a massive W, no matter how you spin it, is that they'll no longer be recommending mature content on Twitch's homepage. I made a whole video about this. If you go on...
Literally, who cares about this? I'm sorry. Oh no, there's mature content on the homepage. I don't fucking care. Like, this is nothing. I do think that, like, okay, if you have a... If you're not signed into Twitch and you're just watching Twitch, not signed in, or you have an account where it's like, okay, you know, you're under the age of 18 or whatever, in that case, yeah, sure, you shouldn't be getting recommended that content. But if you're 18 or older, who gives a shit? I'm sorry. Like, Twitch should just recommend content based on what you enjoy watching. That, like, basically what every other social media platform does. That's what they should do.
On Twitch when you're not logged in, a few of the top recommendations...
Okay, when you're not logged in, then yeah, okay, sure.
No matter what, even on an incognito browser, a fucking brand new computer, anything, some of the top recommendations are always sexually suggestive content. The #1 being Taylor Javot. I made a whole video about that, where she's usually body painting or like doing squats for subs. Mainly her big thing was stalling to get to that, but it always recommends sexually suggestive content when you go to Twitch's homepage.
I mean, a part of it is going to be, okay, how sexually suggestive is it? Because if it's, like, slightly sexually suggestive, like, I don't fucking care. Like, yeah, there's going to be some content where there's sexual undertones to it, but if it does well, it does well. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's literally nothing. I just don't care.
So the fact that that's going to no longer be the case, I think is a good thing, because Twitch is a website that is used by a lot of underage people. It's not exclusively...
Let's not pretend like when we were all kids, we fucking watched porn. I'm sorry. Acting like people, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's better if they do this, but it was never really that big of a deal to begin with. I'm sorry, but, like, I discovered what porn was when I was 10. Okay, like, it's really not as big of a deal as people make it out to be.
Used by kids, but there is absolutely a lot of kids on there, make no mistake. It's a 13+ website. Like, you have to be 13 to sign up. So it is clearly a place that's accessible to kids. So it's good.
And then what? They might see cleavage. I like, they're gonna find out about titties one day. So I don't know. It just seems kind of goofy. Like, let's not pretend like they don't know what Pornhub is. Like, everyone by the age of 13 has seen porn at least once. Unless they're extremely sheltered, okay? I'm sorry. But, like, you're lying if you say that you haven't, that you didn't know what it was when you were 13, unless you were extremely sheltered. Because all it takes is, like, one kid from a friend group to tell everybody else what it is, and then everybody else knows what it is. So, heaven forbid a kid sees a nipple. Yeah, literally. It's not gonna fucking kill them. They're not gonna die. It's not gonna traumatize them. It's a fucking nipple. It's nothing. It's like people make it something that's such a big deal when it's not. It's like, I remember discovering what porn was for the first time, and it really wasn't a big deal. It was like, oh, okay, that exists, I guess. Cool. Moving on with my life. I don't know why it has to be such a huge deal.
To no longer have the mature content being pushed right in their face on the homepage the second you go there. But now let's get into the messiness of it. The policy change around artistic nudity is a certainly interesting direction for Twitch to go. Because if you go on Twitch right now, and I don't even think I could pull up the current browser here, like a picture of it, because there is so much furry porn as well as naked anime girls on
I literally don't care.
On the thumbnails, because that's what people are drawing on there right now. It'd take me like 20 minutes to censor all of it, to show it, so I'm not going to bother. If you go on there at any point in time, though, going forward, I imagine you're going to see a ton of porn, like hentai, being drawn.
Based.
I'll
the more the merrier.
Show you Jake Lucky's tweet, because he already did the censoring for me, and it's just one stream. But this is already seemingly blowing up. On the art category right now, every single stream in the...
Hold on, am I supposed to be outraged about this? Like, is this something I'm supposed to care about? Like, I'm sorry, what? Girl, I'm so angry because they have naked people. Oh no, the fucking world's gonna explode. This is the biggest non-issue, I swear to God.
Top 15, except for 2, are naked anime characters being drawn or naked furries being drawn.
Okay, I will say that I guess the problem would not even be the policy, it would just be that a disproportionate amount of sexual content is being played when I think that there should be a variety. So maybe like a small percentage of it on your homepage could be sexual stuff. Then some of it could be Minecraft, then some of it could be whatever the fuck, right? Some of it could be like a podcast or something similar to what I'm doing on YouTube, but on Twitch. You do know they reversed this, right? Yeah, I know. And we're going to get into that. So that's why I've already admitted that the title is clickbait / a lie / really just trying to get this to get attention, because them reversing it was what they did wrong. So they did do something wrong, actually.
Which is totally permitted by Twitch's new policy. They're not breaking any rules, they're playing it by the book, it's all above board. Don't hate the player, hate the game, and I'm hating the game a little bit, I'm gonna be honest. It feels very weird to have that content live under the same umbrella, the same platform as all of the other non-sexually explicit content, like...
This is not a problem with the policy, though. It's a problem with, like, the Twitch algorithm promoting a disproportionate amount of sexual content. That just means that they need to update their algorithm so that it doesn't disproportionately promote that content. Like, changing the policy isn't the issue. It's an algorithmic one. So if you're somebody that is, whatever, incognito, or you're using Twitch for the first time, maybe you want to see sexual content, so maybe there's a little bit of that on your homepage. Preferably not if you're not signed in on an 18+ account, but whatever. But for it to primarily be that, for it to be a disproportionate amount of it, that would be the issue. But again, that's an issue with the algorithm promoting a disproportionate amount of that content rather than a problem with the policy, right?
It just feels kind of out of place. I hate having to default to stating this kind of argument, but Twitch is a 13+ platform. It feels weird to have an 18+ category be immediately accessible by just going to the number 6 most popular category as of right now, me making this video, and immediately having access to porn.
I'm sorry, I don't care. Like as if they wouldn't already immediately have access to porn if they just type in pornhub.com. Like, it's not like it's hard to access porn, no matter how fucking old or young you are. Like, you can just go to Pornhub.com and watch porn. It's really not that difficult. Like, I did it when I was fucking 10 years old. I'm sorry. But to pretend like it hasn't always been easy for kids to access porn is fucking brain dead. It's mind-bogglingly fucking stupid.
That's just kind of weird to me. Yes, it is labeled, so when you try and watch it, it gives you some kind of sexually suggestive warning, but you can...
Well, then there you go. Problem solved. Problem fucking solved. Oh my god. That's literally how the problem is solved. There you go. Not an issue. Like, this is literally nothing. I don't know. I just find this whole, oh, we need to protect the children from dangerous stuff. It's like, shut the fuck up. Who fucking cares? It's like, this is meaningless. This is worthless. Like, I don't fucking care.
You can still immediately see it in the thumbnails. It's still right there, and it's right there at your fingertips on the same website as the 18 plus stuff. I don't have an issue with them allowing artistic nudity streams to exist, but it should have been spun off into its own separate place as opposed to being under the same umbrella as the rest of the streams, because I really...
Why does it matter? Why can't it be under the same umbrella? Like, I don't see the issue.
I feel like it's totally different. Like, I just don't think the two should coexist in the same space. It should be separated. So yeah, I'm definitely not a huge fan of that direction there. I've always said that Twitch probably wants to make an 18 plus category because there's a lot of money in that, which is fine if that's the direction they'd want.
I mean, like, business-wise, I think that that's like the best decision that they could make, right? Would be to have just like an 18 plus category called 18 plus, right? I don't know. I think that that's fairly obvious and straightforward. I don't think that they need to make like a whole separate website. Like, that's fucking insane. There's a difference between a kid stumbling across porn and intentionally numbing TOS to allow it on the front page. Well, I intentionally stumbled across porn when I was 10. So, it's not like I didn't know what Pornhub was. Like, I don't know. Like, you have to actively go out of your way as a kid to watch 18 plus content. So, because it literally gives a warning saying, hey, 18 plus. Now, yeah, there's going to be some kids that watch it, but like, those are the same kinds of kids that would just go to Pornhub anyway. So, I don't know, like, I don't care. The porn to femboy to trans pipeline is real, true. Difference is that it's a porn site. Twitch isn't a porn... Okay, so your main issue is that Twitch isn't a porn site, so it's categorically not allowed to have any 18 plus category of content? Like, that seems fucking stupid. I just don't see the point. Like, it's not like some kid is gonna stumble across it and it's gonna fucking traumatize them. It's really not that big of a deal. Like, I'm sorry.
To go, like having the adult Twitch category or something. They still haven't fully done that, but it looks like they're tiptoeing ever closer to it. But it really needs to be a totally separate category that isn't just easily accessible from just the regular Twitch experience that you can get to with a single category that is number 6 right now.
With a single category. It's in its own separate category. So what's the issue? While they are inconsistent on TOS enforcement and suddenly change on a whim, what is and isn't allowed? No, I agree with that. Like, yeah, they need to do a better job being consistent, but at the end of the day, the problem isn't that there's too much NSFW content on Twitch. They shouldn't be allowing that. They need it to be a Christian-friendly site. It's like, no, fuck that shit.
Like, it needs to be far more separated. Now, that's the main one I wanted to talk about. I'm very curious to see how all of the other policy changes are going to, like, what they're going to lead to, I guess. Because to me, it seems like a lot of it's easily exploitable by some bad actors that are probably going to just try and drive Twitch audience to their porn. Like, it feels like a lot of this...
Like, who cares?
...is just going to make it a little messier on the platform when it comes to that kind of practice, but it remains to be seen. Maybe giving this clarity is helpful in avoiding that.
Oh no, heaven forbid, somebody might promote their OnlyFans. Oh god, the horror.
Somehow, I'm just not entirely sure. The only one I'm sure on is that I don't really like that now you can just immediately get hentai just from going to the fucking top categories. That to me is just weird to be on Twitch.
No, it's based.
But yeah, anyway, that's the whole Twitch policy.
Twitch perma banned Gideon because he said L+ ratio whilst someone was fucking on stream. Weak ban. Oh yeah, I agree that like they're way too strict with their rules, but people were complaining about Twitch becoming less strict in terms of their nudity policy. Like, I think that that's like a rare Twitch W. Like if they're loosening up on their policy in whatever area that may be, that's a good thing. But the problem is when they're too strict. That's when it's a problem. So I'm actually very consistent here in my anti-Twitch rhetoric because I'm against all of their over-the-top strictness. I'm in favor of them making changes that are a decrease in their level of strictness. Because all we're doing here is setting a precedent for, oh no, you better be more strict on this, and better not allow cleavage to show on your platform. Or anything mildly sexual, because, we'll create a fucking outrage and act like goddamn crybabies, which is what people did. So, that's why the next video we're going to be watching is also from the man, the myth, the legend, the used car salesman, Moist Critical, called They Already Gave Up. And,
yesterday I made a video going over Twitch's new policy update that they rolled out, and it's been just a little over 24 hours, and they immediately threw their hands up, waved the white flag, and surrendered, saying,
yeah, and that's where Twitch was in the wrong. Again, title was a little bit misleading, but I knew I had to get clicks somehow, so yeah, it is what it is. Fucking cry about it. But yeah, the problem was that they gave up.
goodness gracious, heavens to Betsy, this was too far, too much, we could have never seen this coming, we're rolling back this change, we're reverting it. So,
which is honestly pathetic and cucked out.
So, for those that don't know, yesterday, Twitch made a guidelines update to what type of content they allow on their platform when it comes to sexually suggestive material. The biggest change that raised the most eyebrows is they made a sweeping alteration to their artistic nudity policy where they basically gave everyone the green light to get fucking insano style with it. They opened Pandora's
Again, who fucking cares? It's literally nothing.
box, allowing pretty much all types of nudity as long as there was artistic context to it, drawing, animation, sculpting, all of that. This was like the big bang that created a universe of porn on Twitch. If you went to the art category in particular on the platform over the last 24 hours, you were inundated with tons of hentai and furry porn.
Again, this has less to do with a policy problem and more to do with the problem with the way in which content is categorized. Again, this has nothing to do with the actual policy itself. It just needs to be more clear about the way in which content needs to be categorized, right? So if there's going to be nudity and whatnot, it should be in like the 18+ section. And at the end of the day, I don't even think it should have to be artistic necessarily if it's in the 18+ section, because it's fucking 18+. So I agree that, okay, and I agree that artistic nudity is an incredibly vague term, and that has a that goes into the issue I was talking about earlier in the stream. I sort of mentioned this, which is that, yeah, Twitch is way too vague, and they do this for a similar reason that the USSR, when they were a thing, would have really vague laws so that they could target basically anybody that's politically inconvenient for laws that basically everybody broke, right? So Twitch does something similar where they have really vague policies where anybody could theoretically be breaking them, but they're only going to ban certain people that they don't like. That's the main issue I have with Twitch.
Out the wazoo. And it's not like it was some restricted category, often like a quarantine zone that you needed to.
Why, thank you, Rise. I appreciate that. I don't know if I actually am cute, but I'll take the compliment regardless. You're cuter, by the way.
secret password to enter like a speakeasy or something. It was legitimately one of the top categories over the last 24 hours. So if you just clicked on it, you immediately saw all of this. Like, the only time that there was a warning is if you actually tried to watch one of the streams, it would let you know that, hey, there might be sexual content here. But otherwise, it was just easily accessible to anybody. And I really think Twitch was under the impression that this policy would be used by artists making really classy things. I think they were expecting Michelangelo level sculptures where it's like this.
No, I think that they knew what they were getting into, but they just didn't like the backlash. Like, they know that people are gonna abuse it, right? Like, they're not fucking stupid. Like they knew for a fucking fact that people were just gonna be a little bit more promiscuous than they already were on Twitch. Like, Twitch has always been a site where the Twitch thoughts sort of go around showing off their cleavage a little bit. So obviously it makes sense that they would want to make that more lax so that people stop complaining about them being inconsistent or whatever. Not that that's ever going to happen, obviously. But I mean, I sort of agree that Twitch is run by idiots, but they're not as stupid as they're being made out to be, right? Like, this is obviously a decision to sort of cash in on what they're already kind of known for. But yeah, no, and I agree that, like, Twitch in general is way too heavily moderated. Like, people need to be unbanned. People need to stop getting banned over dumb shit. Like, I feel like you should be able to raid Pokemon's chat for fun and not get permabanned. Like, I'm sorry. Getting banned for that at all is fucking brain dead.
This marble statue of a man with a small wiener, but how it was actually utilized by the community is just tons of huge cocked furries and like giant titted anime babes squirting milk out of their nipples. And I saw a lot.
Well, I think that the issue was that A, they didn't realize that, like, okay, it was gonna happen to this extent, and B, I don't think that their algorithm was ready to adjust for the policy changes. So the issue is that they changed their policy without changing their algorithm or the way that content is categorized, right? But if you're going to make policy changes, you should also include algorithmic changes. Like, this is a given. This is obvious, right? So obviously in that sense they were wrong. But again, changing the policy in of itself to make it more loose, to make it more relaxed, I think is a good thing.
A lot of people getting mad at the artists for making this kind of content on Twitch, but I don't blame them at all. Twitch allowed this. They enabled it. They gave them the green light, gave them the freedom to do that, so they were just playing by the rules. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't break any of those rules at all, except for a couple of people that popped forward to exploit it even further. There were some channels that were made in order to AI generate photorealistic porn in the art category. So then you started having AI generated porn images that were indistinguishable from just real screenshots from porn. Scroll.
Okay, well, in that case, that's obviously not art, right? That's not artistic. If AI is doing something that... AI art isn't really art, right? It's not... It's what... Because art requires some sort of artistic expression, even if the artistic expression is the lack of expression. Like, oh, look, I drew a fucking random scribble and or a random line on a piece of paper to make a fucking statement about how I don't give a shit about art or some shit. Even that is, you know, there's some sort of artistic intent there, even if the whole point is the lack of artistic intent. But AI art, despite being called art, is not really art. So it's created by AI, then I don't think that would fall under the category of art. So now, that being said, if somebody has like a really realistic CGI character, that could be considered art, but I don't know. I mean, who's gonna be live streaming that? And at that point, that's like, okay, well, that's impressive enough to the point where who fucking cares? It's impressive.
Scrolling through the art category, which again was one of the top categories, felt like what Y2K was trying to warn us of back in the year 2000.
Again, I do agree that, okay, yeah, maybe it should be categorized separately, so there could be art, 18 plus art, and maybe like a broad 18 plus category with subcategories, or like whatever, separate 18 plus section, and then in order for your content to, you know, because at that point you basically solve any and all concerns.
It was disastrous. Which again, at the end of the day, was entirely Twitch's fault. I think Carnage summed it up best, nice and succinct. He said, "These recent changes on Twitch are so embarrassing, sweeping..."
Like what is embarrassing other than, again, the algorithmic, like the lack of algorithmic changes to coincide with the policy changes? But whatever. Now, what Twitch also did wrong is the second bullet point. Erroneously ban streamers for doing exactly what they're told they can do. Now, I agree that Twitch shouldn't do that. But again, the policy changes weren't the problem.
Policy changes without basic restrictions, erroneously ban streamers for doing exactly what they're told they can do, immediately roll back the changes the next day. Amateur hour, please do better, Twitch. Amen. I mean, that's the whole situation broken down into a nutshell. Twitch started banning some of the streamers that were literally doing what they were allowed to do.
Yeah, and that's where Twitch fucked up.
Played by Twitch's new rules and still got banned for it because Twitch must have got all, blushed and shocked, like, oh my goodness, what have we done? And then they just started lashing out and banning streamers that were literally just doing what Twitch said they could. Just a massive L from Twitch across the board here. When reading through their explanation for why they decided to make this big change, they said, for years through user voice and conversations, we heard from artists that our content policies were limiting. In making this update, we were trying to be responsive to those requests and allow the thriving artist community on Twitch to utilize the human form in art. So reading...
I mean, obviously, Twitch is going to say whatever the fuck. I mean, they're not going to be anything other than disingenuous. But at the same time, the changes of the policy were just, oh, okay, yeah. Here, you can do some more nudity stuff. Again, the way that they implemented it was not good. They were very sloppy, but that's not an issue with the TOS or the policies themselves, right?
Through this explanation, I just really get the impression that they expected this to kind of be like my figure drawing course in my freshman year of college, where you do draw a nude model, so the art does have nudity.
No, they knew that they knew that people were gonna take advantage of it and do sexual stuff. I think that what they failed to realize was the extent to which people would do it, and also the fact that their algorithm wouldn't account for it.
In it, but that's still very different than just drawing straight up porn. That's two very separate disciplines. Those categories couldn't be more different. And Twitch was expecting the former, but they got the latter, and a lot of it. Bazooka ballsack furries as far as the eye could see in the art category for the last 24 hours, and Twitch eventually said, okay, enough is enough, we've got to put the...
Well, and this is the problem with them having the policy relate to, quote, artistic nudity, is they have this sort of plausible deniability where they can say, oh, well, this nudity wasn't artistic, that's just porn, so it's not artistic. But in reality, it is artistic. It's just not artistic in the way that maybe they necessarily thought. They were more likely thinking something along the lines of, okay, it's not going to be straight up porn, it's just going to be people doing things that are a little bit more promiscuous, which is sort of what they're already known for, right? What would you ever do an 18+ stream? I've considered it. I don't know, not yet. It's like the word alleged get out of jail free card. Yeah, it's like the word alleged, or hypothetically if this were to happen, and then saying something that obviously happened or that you are implying happened, etc.
Vaush on this. So today they announced that they are taking that change back. They're saying, whoops-a-daisy, they're using their one mulligan in the golf game here in order to say, nope. Let's go ahead and read.
I mean, they were about to take a rare Twitch W, and they did for less than 24 hours, and they had to fuck it up. They had to fuck it up and embarrass themselves by being cucked out and caving in and reverting their new policy, even though the problem wasn't even with their policy. Like, they should keep the policy and change the format of their site or the algorithm or whatever.
Read through the rest of the statement here. First, we want to make clear that some streamers in response to this update created content that was in violation of our new policy. We've worked quickly to remove that content and issue channel enforcements.
Well, it wasn't necessarily in violation of their new policy, right? Or at least it shouldn't have been. That's the problem, is that they're too strict.
That's referring mainly to the AI-generated photorealistic porn that was being put onto the platform.
Oh, okay, well, that's not art. Okay, the AI art, which isn't really art, being removed, I'm fine with that. I don't care. AI art can go fuck itself. Also, hello, Preston D. Welcome to the stream.
I don't know why they didn't see that coming. That was always going to be the outcome of a policy like this, which is a massive sweeping change that allows for artistic nudity, which is a very vague thing to try and define. Like, that was always going to happen, and I don't know how Twitch didn't foresee that. It just seems like they don't exactly know their community that well.
Here's my solution for what Twitch should do. Twitch should continue with the policy changes, but instead of it being artistic nudity, just have a whole section for nudity. Have an 18+ section on your site. I don't care if it's easy to access. Do whatever the fuck. Just have an 18 plus section, or like an 18 plus category, or or maybe with subcategories. So we 18 plus art in general, naked streamers, AI art, VTubers that are nude, hentai, etc. But yeah, I think we should have a Dom category on Twitch for no particular reason. Yeah, honestly, yes. Honestly, yes. Like, here's the thing, is Twitch has already a niche for this, where they have girls that are, whatever, they have OnlyFans girls that are on their site that are very promiscuous, nothing wrong with that, that, you know, their content is a little bit more on the sexual side. They should take advantage of this. Femyoz, I may or may not be the dude from Finn's server in the VCs. I recognize you. Yes, a different category, for real. Yeah. When's the Femyoz hot tub stream, SMH? Yeah, like, here's the thing, is people are complaining about the policy when really the only issue was that the policy is too vague. That's the only issue. Like, conceptually, it's actually not that bad of an idea. But people are so fucking outraged because, oh no, there's porn that children might see. As if they don't already go to fucking Pornhub.com to watch whatever the fuck they want. Because we all did that when we were kids, unless we were sheltered. Which, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I wasn't fucking sheltered because I'm not a loser. No offense to anybody that was sheltered. I'm sorry you have shit parents.
Not even their community, just the internet in general. That was always going to be exploited. However, there also was a great deal of new content that was allowed under the updated policy. Much of the content created has been met with community concern.
Careful, that's pedo rhetoric. It's not. I'm sorry, but like, who the fuck didn't watch porn growing up? I'm like, that can't just be a me thing. Pedophiles use that rhetoric. Well, they use it. Well, they use what they'll do is they'll find something that has like a grain of truth, but then they'll use it to defend indefensible positions. So what a PDF file will do is they might start with something correct, like what I just said, but then they'll use it to conclude that they should be able to send minors porn, which they shouldn't be able to do, or that they should be able to interact with minors in that way. That's where the problem lies, is if minors are interacting in a way that's NSFW. If they're just, whatever, going on Pornhub and watching porn, I don't think that there's really, it's not a big deal. I'm sorry. I did that when I was a kid. Who fucking cares? Like, I'm sorry, but it's, oh no, I saw titties when I was 10. Okay? Now, maybe if I had a different experience, I would have a different opinion, but like, I just don't see how it's a big deal. Like, the naked body is not going to fucking traumatize somebody. I didn't know what porn was till 13. Well, 13's the minimum. Keep in mind that the minimum age to even have a Twitch account is 13. So, if you are a 13-year-old, you probably know what porn is. Because, all it takes is one person in your friend group to tell you. And there's always that one friend who knows what porn is because they accidentally discovered it or whatever, and then they tell everybody else or whatever. So by that age, everybody pretty much knows what it is. So it's not like Twitch is single-handedly exposing them to something new. It shouldn't happen, but it's almost unavoidable. Yeah, it's like, what do you propose? Ban porn? Fuck no. Like, that just makes the internet a more boring place. Why should I have to suffer the consequences of other people creating a fucking moral panic over nothing? Like, I'm sorry, but as a 19-year-old, I want easy access to all that shit. When I was growing up, I also wanted easy access to all that shit. Like, I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with that. Like, again, where I draw the line is if somebody interacts with a minor in a sexual way, or goes out of their way to deliberately target minors. That's when it becomes a problem. But if you do 18 plus content or sexual content and a minor just so happens to stumble across it, I don't think that you're a problematic person for that. I don't think that you should be blamed for that. Because at the end of the day, people are going to find shit on the internet when they're growing up. I know I did. That's not the fault of porn stars. That's not the fault of Pornhub as like a company. Like, I think that shit happens, and we should acknowledge that it happens, but at the same time, I'm sorry, this is a hot take, but it's really not that big of a fucking deal. It's, like, realistically, there's not much you can do. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Fucking ban porn? Well, that's fucking stupid. So, no thanks. It's the way you word it. What's a better way to word it? Because at the end of the day, like, you throw all eggs in one basket and justify it because you saw porn as a kid. Rare Femyoz L. How is that an L? Like, I'm literally just stating facts. People act like, oh no, if a kid sees porn, it's gonna fucking traumatize them. When the people saying that saw porn as children and they were fine. They actively sought out. They sought it out. I agree. If they discovered it on their own without being targeted toward them, I don't see an issue. Exactly. That's the point I'm making. Exactly. If it's not being targeted directly towards them and they actively go out of their way to see it, what's the issue? Like, if they click on something and then they're like, are you sure you want to watch this? This is 18 plus. It has nudity. They know what they're getting into. And then if they decide to watch it anyways, that's on them. They're not being directly targeted. They are actively being discouraged. And then they do it anyway. In which case, what's the fucking issue? It only becomes an issue if they are being actively targeted. If people are going out of their way to find minors, or if people... Now the thing about Twitch is, and this is where the water gets muddied, because if you're interacting with your chat, right, and somebody in your chat is a minor, and you don't know it, or you, even worse, you do know it, and you're acting sexually towards people in chat, that sort of crosses a line for me. That's where I start to say, no, this isn't okay. But it doesn't seem like that's what was happening, from what I understand. Because I'm pretty sure that you would need an 18 plus account, if I'm not mistaken, to actually watch it, right? I think. And I think that the issue was that it was showing up, like, in terms of, like, the thumbnails and incognito tabs. I think. There's a difference between having systems in place to prevent kids from seeing it, but it having TOS that allows it on the front page is different. Again, this is an issue with the algorithm of Twitch. I don't think that the algorithm should promote it to people that are incognito or on like new accounts that are a day old, unless they're 18 plus, or yeah, like I don't think that like any, like if it's an account that's under 18 or you're not signed in, I don't think that should be on the front page, right? But again, they should change the algorithm and the way the algorithm categorizes stuff. That's not a problem with the TOS. And say this is bad optics all you want, but I will fucking die on this hill, because shit like this is not as big of a deal as people make it out to be. It's like people will create this outrage because, oh no, what if a minor sees something? Like, don't pretend like you didn't fucking actively seek out porn when you were fucking 10 years old, okay? We all did that shit. I'm sorry, like, who the fuck didn't do that? Parents create emails and accounts for their kids on YouTube, Google, etc. You can limit everything up to block specific websites or general categories. It's based on what's popular and most watched. Yeah, exactly. Which obviously, that's what the algorithm is going to do by default, right? Is okay, what's the most popular, right? But they need to obviously find a way to have the algorithm better categorize stuff, because whatever, having it, but at the same time, it's like, okay, do you have to sign in to Pornhub on an 18 plus account to watch porn? No, not really, right? But I think that there should be specifically an 18 plus category that you specifically have to click on. Go out of your way to click on, and it says, "Are you sure?" or something like that on Twitch, right? And if that's the case, I don't really see why that's such a huge issue. But yeah, I don't know. Everybody's gonna learn someday, sooner or later. Yeah, like unless you're extremely sheltered as a child, which who the fuck wants to be a sheltered kid? That's boring as fuck. Like, I don't know. It just seems like when people create outrages over nothing, it's like they're pro boringness. They're pro boring. They're anti fun. They just want to be the fun police. That's not a good sentiment. I think it's a great sentiment to be against the fun police. I don't know. Maybe I'm just immature or something, but like, I don't know. Because it's gonna happen, do it anyway. The fuck? Yeah! Who fuck? Like, again, didn't you already agree that, like, that it, or maybe somebody else, or yeah. Or no, that was somebody else. Never mind. That agreed with me. The fact of the matter is, you're being extremely bad faith with people who are against this. Yeah, because like it's a non-issue. Like you're just anti-fun. You're pro-boring. Well, I'm sorry, but you're not like. When I was 10 years old, guess what? I saw titties on the internet. It didn't fucking kill me. I didn't fucking die. I was fine. I'm sorry. You're downplaying what the situation is. It's not just a titty. We're talking about porn. Bro, I started watching porn when I was like 10. I don't even watch it anymore because it's not that interesting to me. I think that me seeing it at such a young age, the only downside to it is it's not that interesting to me anymore. Like, I discovered all the really kinky stuff before, like, by the age of 12. So, like, and guess what? I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, because I actively sought it out. Like, I went out of my way to go on Pornhub to watch porn as a kid. So because you saw porn at a young age, it's okay if kids watch? Well, the point I'm making is it's not as big of it. Like, it's not gonna fucking traumatize you. It didn't fucking traumatize me. Like, that's the thing. It had literally no impact on me as a kid or my mental health. Don't get me wrong, I have all sorts of mental health issues, but it has nothing to do with that shit. Even as a kid, I knew how to watch it in moderation. Now you could say, oh, well, it's because you have a low sex drive, which wasn't true. I was fucking horny back in the day. I'm really not anymore, but I kind of wish I was. Nobody is arguing that the world will end, but that's how people are acting. Like, I'm sorry, but to pretend like this isn't something that already fucking happens and isn't a big fucking deal, it is mind-boggling. Like, I'm sorry, but like, if it's one-sided and it's just somebody watching something when they're a kid, I don't have a problem with that. Again, where I draw the line is when an adult is actively interacting with a minor. It's the interaction aspect that I have a problem with, right? But as long as adults aren't actually interacting with minors and they're just, I don't know, like, again, I don't think it's as big of a deal as people make it out to be. Like, when you were a kid, be honest, did you not ever watch porn? Or did you get a little bit curious and decide, okay, I want to see what this porn thing is all about? My guess is you watched it at least once, for the sake of curiosity, and that you were fine afterwards. No, they aren't. They are concerned that children will be shown porn by Twitch. Again, if it's labeled 18 plus, I don't care. No, I didn't know what porn was. You said you discovered it when you were 13. A 13-year-old is a child. Now, granted, that's later than the average person, I'm pretty sure. But, like, I mean, 13 is different from 10. Okay, I will agree that 10 is obviously on the younger side. And I'm not saying that 10-year-olds ought to watch porn. That's not my statement. I don't think it's particularly good necessarily. I think that I am different in that regard. Like, whatever, matured more quickly than everybody else. I've always sort of been ahead of the curve, right? But 13 is still a child, right? Like, that's, you're still a minor at 13, right? If people are, like, here's the thing, right? You can morally grandstand and pretend like you never watched porn before the age of 18, but let's be real, you did. Okay, you're lying if you say you didn't. But in the grand scheme of time, I'd say it was late. I'm now 19. It came out when I was 14, so yeah, I'd argue it's like, yeah, like, usually you figure it out in, like, 6th or 7th grade when you're, like, in middle school, just starting to hit puberty, because there was always that one kid that would bring it up, and they'd be really fucking weird about it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There was always the weird kid that would talk about hentai, and then everybody else would be like, well, what's hentai? And then they would fucking tell you. And then everyone else would be like, huh. Yeah, that's really weird. Why would you watch that? That's silly. And then they'd go home. Yeah, like, but again, I was built different. I found out in late elementary school. But again, I think, like, for me, I think my brain developed earlier than most people's, but I don't even know what a kid would do with porn. They don't have the facilities to do anything with it. You mean the faculties? I don't know. Like, I remember being horny when I was a kid. I mean, part of it was maybe I just hit puberty and didn't realize it, but my guess is that I hit puberty earlier than I realized, but I didn't notice right away because I don't know. Maybe I'm androgen insensitive. At this point, if people don't want kids seeing porn on Twitch, keep them off the internet and don't blame Twitch. Yeah, literally. Literally. Like, I'm sorry, but, like, first of all, what child even has the attention span to watch Twitch in the first place? Okay? I know I sure as hell didn't growing up, because fuck that. I don't want to watch hours of live content or like a podcast. That wasn't interesting. I mean, eventually it was, But if I'm gonna watch hours of content, I'm not gonna watch a fucking random Twitch thought and start gooning, okay? To me, that's boring. I'm 19 and I still don't have the attention span for that. But maybe that's just me. I think I hit, as far as I was aware, I hit puberty at like 11, but I might have hit it like a little bit before then. Like, I know I discovered masturbation when I was like 8. And I had like sexual fantasies. I know that that's not normal. I know that like I was the odd one out there. I don't think that most people experience that. So again, I like that's atypical, but again, I don't know. Maybe my perception is skewed because the majority of my life at this point, I've like known, I guess, what. Well, I haven't known everything. Well, I guess I didn't know what everything was. I just know that I was 8. I came home from school a lot of the time, and I'm not gonna describe this. I was fucking 8. That's weird. Like I'm remembering it from like my perspective, but I feel like if I describe it, it's weird. Because from your perspective, I don't like that. I don't like that. But alright, bitches, let's go on Twitch and begin our new goon sesh. I had a book to teach me, Lamau. You get dreams of a girl you like type shit. Yeah. What's interesting is my dreams that were like horny were like different. I don't know. They were always really kinky and always had like sub-dom dynamics. TMI, yeah, I don't know. See, that's the thing, is like on one hand I want to be sex positive, but like at the same time it's like okay, but like looking back, that is kind of weird that like I was like that. Like that, I don't think most kids were like me. I think I was different. Like my life's still the same though. I didn't hit puberty, but I discovered sexual stuff in kindergarten from another girl in the same grade. My life's still the same though. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not, like, again, I don't think that sexual content should be, like, shown specifically to children, but, like, what are you gonna do, right? Like, sometimes they're just gonna discover shit, and, like, you just have to accept that. Or don't give them access to the internet, which I think is wrong. I think that people should have access to the internet. I don't think that people should be sheltered, because they're gonna find out one day. Speaking of sub, guys, look, it's shut up. I think I was different, says the femboy trans girl wearing cat ears. Yeah. Yeah, no, like, that's the thing, is, like, I just, I don't know, like, like, if it had negatively affected me in some way, like, I would be out here talking about the horrors of discovering porn when you're a child, but, like, it didn't really impact me. Like, it just became, like, a thing that I knew about, like, on the side. Like, it was never, like, my main focus in life, and it didn't really change anything. Like, it was just like, oh, that's cool. That's kind of hot that there's, like, naked people and, like, all this kinky stuff. Like, that was my reaction. But to be honest, I was the innocent one that had no internet access growing up, and I didn't watch porn until recent years. I had no idea what was going on while everyone else knew what was up. See, people always thought that I was innocent. And I remember people that were my age thought I was innocent, and there was like dirty stuff that they would like allude to, but like not tell me about. But the reason sometimes when people would allude to stuff, I wouldn't understand it. It wasn't because I was innocent. It was just because I was autistic and I didn't pick up on social cues. So people thought I was like really innocent, but I wasn't. Maybe change topics to avoid possible cancellation due to misunderstanding discussion. I feel like in order to misunderstand me, you have to have a bad faith interpretation of what I'm saying. Like, you have to, like, lie to like, cancel me. But, again, like, I don't know. I just don't think... Again, maybe I'm biased, but... like, am I... Like, okay. How much of this is caused by my personal bias? Because, like, I've never seen porn as, like, a huge deal. It's, like, something that just exists. Well, I don't know if this is, like, an autism thing, but, like, it's never been what people make it out to be. Like, people act like, oh, it's so huge, and, like, oh, yeah, it's, like, this huge thing that you know, that you discover when you discover it for the first time. But it was, like, even before I saw porn, like, I knew, okay, like, I had heard that, like, yeah, there's, like, naked people on the internet. Like, that's and, like, there was a period of time where it was, like, I didn't want to see that, so I actively didn't seek it out. So, and then I was ready, and then I sought it out. Like, I feel like you kind of know when you're ready. At least I did. Because, like, I knew, like, when I was, like, whatever, 8 or something like that, like, I knew that there were naked people on the internet, or whatever. Like, I knew that there was that you could find it easily. But I didn't seek it out, and I didn't want to seek it out because I wasn't mentally ready yet. And I knew that. So I just wasn't interested in it. And then I was interested in it later. And then I sought it out. So I'm trying to think, if I was on Twitch, would I have seen anything that I didn't want to see? I mean, fuck, probably. And maybe that would have been a bad thing, because I wouldn't have been ready yet, and I knew that I wasn't ready. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess that would be the main argument for don't have this on the front page, because there's going to be people that aren't seeking it out that'll see it, that don't want to see it. Now, if I had accidentally seen something when I was 8, I feel like I would have just immediately clicked away, and I would have been like, ew, that's kind of gross. But it wouldn't have been, like, that big of a deal. I would have just moved on. Porn on its own is amoral, it's not good or bad, but its ease of access is a clear problem. Why? Like, you don't have to watch it. Just don't watch it. Like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's my position. I don't know. I have a request. Can you stretch real quick? I sure can. I also can do a fit check. As you can see, I've got the stripy socks on, and the stripy arm warmers, and the crop top, and the skirt. It's a vibe, and the choker. Yeah. Anyways. Can you flex real quick? You're such a fucking bottom. Holy shit. Rise, you are such a fucking bottom. Like, goddamn, you just want... Nothing screams intimidation like, hey dog, where you going? I'm gonna pop you, dog. So real. A good girl. Your biceps are so fucking hot. Why, thank you. Very much appreciated. I don't know. Anyways, holy shit, we got so fucking sidetracked. We gotta continue. We have a stream to do, remember? Yeah, that's sort of why we were here. Fucking love the color, yeah. Because minors being sexually exposed at an early age can lead to them getting groomed way more easily than it would otherwise. Source? Because, like, again, if they actively seek it out, like, they're gonna find out anyway. Like, at which point, and this is more along the lines of an argument for sex ed being taught at, like, an earlier age, right? So that they know what to avoid. See, I feel like I was educated pretty well in terms of, like, my sex education from both my parents and the school system. But mostly my parents taught me from a very early age, and this is something that I am so grateful for, that if anybody touches you inappropriately or does this list or does stuff like this that's inappropriate or asks you to show your privates, you say no matter what. If an adult, if a stranger is interacting with you on the internet, especially if they're an adult, just they're probably trying to prey upon you, right? They're probably trying to do things that are really bad, right? And they taught me this from an early age. Hey, stranger danger. Some adults are really scary. And I took that to heart because I grew up knowing that, yeah, there are people that are adults that prey on children. And from a very young age, I knew that was wrong, right? I knew that that's something that can happen, and I knew what to avoid. This is why I never got groomed when I was a child. Despite being a terminally online child that would otherwise be the perfect candidate for grooming, okay? I was mentally ill. I'm still mentally ill. Same thing with autistic. So maybe not the best at picking up on certain social cues all the time. Again, this is why it's important for parents to teach their children what to look out for and what to avoid. Because if they don't, then that's what causes grooming to be so rampant, right? But if you educate your child and make sure that they're smart in terms of how they act on the internet, like, one thing that I'm so grateful, like, I thought this was stupid, but I sort of understood where they were coming from. Something I'm grateful for is my parents didn't even let me show my face on the internet until I was 13. And I thought that was stupid. I was like, why can't I show my face? Like, but the reason was because they wanted me to make sure that I wasn't gonna be taken advantage of by creepy adults on the internet. And that's the responsibility of the parents, not Twitch, not Pornhub, not any of these sites that host NSFW content. It's up to the parents and up to the education system. And people sort of undermine that. People sort of expect Twitch to parent their children for them, to keep an eye on their children for them, when that's not the responsibility of Twitch. That's not the responsibility of Pornhub. That's the responsibility of the parents. And frankly, while I'm not in favor of, restricting so much internet access from the children or whatever, right? Like, okay, maybe the amount they use the internet, but not what they look at on the internet, right? But that's also up to the parents, right? If you're a parent and you don't think that your child is ready to see something on the internet, that's up to you. Again, people act like Twitch is to blame, but what does Twitch's policy have to do with minors seeing sexual content? Other than, it's easily accessible? Like it is everywhere else on the internet? Like it is on Twitter? Again, Twitter accounts that are easily accessible by anybody have porn on them. And everybody in chat that's arguing against me is glad that Twitter porn exists. Okay, let's be real. Because Twitter porn goes hard, all right? That's like the one good thing about Twitter. So, but again, it is very easily accessible. And you could make the argument of, oh, well, these accounts are like easy for minors to stumble across. But that's not what makes them more prone to grooming. What makes them more prone to grooming is a lack of knowledge, a lack of education, a lack of being told what to look out for. And while I was, maybe for better or for worse, exposed to sexual content at a young age because I exposed myself to it, I was never preyed upon because I was taught what I needed to be taught as a child. I was taught, hey, there are creepy adults, avoid them. And I was taught that at a very young age. And that is the number one thing you can do. If you care about preventing grooming, which is valid, that's something that you probably should care about. That's the best thing you can do as a parent, is educate your child. Again, it's not Twitch's responsibility. Pretty sure there's studies backing this up. What, the being sexually exposed as in like seeing porn at a young age? You'd have to send me one on Discord. Vaush gives me Stranger Danger vibes. I don't get where you're coming from. Have you beat autism yet? I have not. I still have the big autism. Yo, Femyoz, Merry Christmas, or Happy Kwanzaa, or Happy Hanukkah, or Happy Krampus. I've never heard of Krampus. Keep up the great work. Why, thank you, H. And welcome to the stream. If you condition children to think sex is something to be sought out because porn is hot or whatever, it leaves them open to be groomed way more easy than a kid who just plays Fortnite all day. See, but that's where sex ed plays a role. You teach them that, hey, this is what you want to avoid. Sex with adults as a kid is not okay. They're going to take advantage of you. You're there's a good chance you get an STD and you don't want that. And it's not going to be what you think it is. They might do things that they didn't tell you beforehand. They might end up going further than what you were okay with, violating your boundaries, doing things that hurt. They might kidnap you, etc. And if you teach them that, yeah, adults that try to have sex with children are scary and should be avoided, that is way better than them not finding anything out. Because most of the time, when children are preyed upon, it's by somebody close to them. It's by a relative, like an uncle, right? There's a reason that stereotype exists. Not that stereotypes are always accurate representations of reality, but the whole, rapey uncle stereotype does hold some weight to it. It's not that being an uncle makes you a rapist or predatory, but again, because it happens with people that are usually close to the kid anyway, that whether it be a family member, a priest, somebody at church, whatever, that's usually in a position of authority. That's why it's important to tell them from a very young age, if somebody is trying to do anything like this, of this nature, if anybody wants you to show them your private parts, you say no. If they tell you to touch their private parts, or they show you their private parts, you say no. And that's what you need to teach children at a young age. You can't just assume that nothing bad will happen, because that's how bad things happen, is they're not taught that. They're not taught what they do in that situation if it does happen. And then, because I was taught from a very young age, when I was like 5, if any adult tries this, you immediately tell me. You immediately tell mommy or daddy, okay? You immediately tell a trusted adult. And that stuck with me. So again, it's a matter of whether or not people are educated. Yeah, what's stopping you from just beating autism? It's never gonna go away. Twitch has marketing towards kids, Pornhub doesn't. I mean, that's true to an extent, but I mean, Twitch is not necessarily a kids site. Like, are there kids on there? Yeah. But I feel like what gets marketed to kids is more like Minecraft streams and shit like that, or fight Fortnite. And while I do think that it's better if Twitch doesn't have porn on the front page, unless you actively seek it out, again, that's not like, I keep going back to this, that's not a policy issue, it's an algorithmic one. It's not a matter of the policy being problematic, it's more along the lines of Twitch didn't have the proper mechanism technologically through which the policy could be implemented the way that they see fit. Having unrestricted access to the internet since my early teens honestly caused some things like what? Again, a lot of the things that get caused are just from a lack of education. Like, trying to go out of your way to maintain a child's innocence by not teaching them basic shit, I think is a detriment to them. Like, you're just going out of your way to make them stupid. Like, you're going out of their way. Sorry. Oh my god, I can't even fucking speak. I'm fucking this, because this is brain dead. You're going out of your way to make them dumber, right? And I remember when I was a kid thinking, if there is knowledge that I don't have, I would like to have that knowledge. Keeping it from me doesn't help me. And I've always hated the idea of people trying to maintain my innocence as if I'm not a human fucking being that can think for myself. Now, obviously, I'm an adult. I have a little bit of a different perspective on it now. But hiding information from me growing up was always something that pissed me off. Now, maybe other people are dumber growing up, so maybe, I don't know. Maybe I was a smart kid, but I would agree with you if Twitch didn't market itself to kids, but wasn't the specific content, like, didn't it have, like, a label that said 18 plus, like, or you would click on it, and then it would be like, are you sure you want to watch this? This is 18 plus, or something like that, and you would have to confirm that you're 18 plus, right? Again, I think that the main issue was just that the thumbnails might have been sexual, and that it was shown on the front page, right? They just need to categorize the content better, right? They need to do a better job categorizing it and knowing when to serve it algorithmically. But again, that's not a policy issue. That's more of an issue with the mechanisms they use to serve people content. Like Twitch is already probably breaking laws by allowing that woman who got shagged on stream back on the platform. I'm sorry, I just don't care. I just don't care. Because they make and curate content they ban at the drop of a hat. They clearly know what's going on. Well, I think that, and I disagree with them banning people over nothing as well. Like, they shouldn't ban people unless it's something, like, illegal or something really fucking bad, right? Something really fucking heinous, right? The same goes for any platform, in my opinion, right? For instance, YouTube is way too heavy on the censorship, just in general. Twitter porn is good for gay, furry porn, and dommy trans porn. Yeah, but is Twitter exclusively for adults? No, you can, I mean, sure, it's like a lot of politics, but that's the thing is kids are less likely to be interested in Twitter, right? But how, like, I feel like Twitch isn't marketed specifically towards children. Like, there's some stuff on there, like, there's some creators on there that, okay, maybe they have more of, like, a child audience, because, like, they're loud and obnoxious or whatever, but it's not like Twitch is specifically, like, a kid or adult site. There needs to be a degree of separation of NSFW content and SFW content. I agree that it is, like, there's no downside in categorically distinguishing between them and having them be separated. both algorithmically and in terms of the way that they're categorized. In terms of like it's like, okay, you could have like a category for, or with multiple subcategories of like the most popular safe for work content. Then you can have the not safe for work content. But there's also going to be some stuff that's like in between, right? Like there's not like a fine line. So I think that there should be like something in between where it's like, okay, here's the content that might be a little bit edgier, where there's like, I don't know, edgy jokes that are offensive or whatever the fuck, or stuff that's like more catered towards adults. And then, you know, maybe at the top it's like, oh, here's like the Minecraft Let's Players and the Fortnite streamers and shit like that. I think that that's something that would be beneficial, if for no other reason, to just make it easier to sift through content, right? Rather than just having this random clusterfuck of random shit on the homepage, right? I think that it should be categorized based on the style of content. I'd say what's happening in Twitch is more of a consequence than they're creating it. Yeah, it's like Twitch definitely knew this would happen. I think that they knew that it would happen more than they're letting on. Like, they already know that, like, okay, one of their main things is they have titty streamers. Like, they're not unaware of that. Like, they go out of their way to make sure that they stay on the platform. But, I mean, but Twitch has a target demographic of kids, too. I mean, kind of, but I feel like Twitch in of itself doesn't really have a target demographic. Twitch streamers have target demographics, but Twitch in of itself is such a broad platform, right? The same way that Twitter doesn't have a specific target demographic, but Twitter users have specific demographics, right? Like, you will find so many people, like, and don't get me wrong, I don't like Twitter. It's a shit site. But regardless of all of its flaws, something that I guess I give it credit for is there's quite a big diversity of different types of people of all ages. You've got 40-year-old boomer Nazis, and you've got 16-year-old trans girls that are Marxist Leninists, and then you've got the early to mid 20 people that draw trans furry porn. Like, you get some of everything, but none of those people are specifically the target demographic of Twitter as a platform. They're only going to be targets of specific Twitter accounts, and I think that the same line of logic applies to Twitch. Like, Twitch is a platform, not content in of itself. I'm not saying being exposed to tits on Twitch is literally going to get you raped. I'm saying it plants the seeds to make it easier for pedos to groom them. Okay, but again, that's not Twitch's responsibility. That is the parents' responsibility to educate their children so that they don't get groomed. Again, Twitch is not your fucking dad if you are on the internet. You should watch the Krampus movie. I don't know anything about it. Mommy. Yeah, I know. You're more likely to be raped or assaulted by someone that's known than by a stranger. Yeah, exactly. There's also that. And that's why it's the responsibility of the parents to make sure that their kids know that. As well as the responsibility of the education system in case the parents are fucking incompetent to make sure that kids know, hey, if somebody is being inappropriate in this way, if they're trying to see or touch your private parts, or they're asking you to look at or showing you their private parts or asking you to touch them in this way, no means no, and you say no. And that's there are so many age-appropriate ways of doing sex ed at such a young age. I mean, hell, I got this kind of sex ed from my parents because they're fucking smart. And guess what? I have never been sexually exploited as a child or as an adult, because I remember when I was 5, I don't remember what the book was called. I think it was called No, or No Means No, or something like that. And my mom read it out loud to me. It was like a picture book. And it was basically a kid that would, learned, okay, if somebody is doing something inappropriate or asking you inappropriate questions, you say no. And the main theme is, if an adult is doing this, you say no, and then you tell an adult. That's what the story was about. And that does far more good than morally panicking because, oh no, a minor might see boobies on Twitch. Like, complaining about a Twitch policy when in reality the way the policy was implemented was fucking stupid. But like having like this moral panic and morally grandstanding over it doesn't protect children. What protects children is actually teaching them how to say no and how to go to a trusted adult if something like that happens. Again, like that's what these people don't understand. They're not actually trying to prevent harm from being done. And that's what pisses me off about this. Like, they don't actually care about preventing children from being groomed, but then they morally grandstand over this. BRB, I didn't hear your response. Okay. So, Femyoz, if I ask for a dick pic, you will say no? Crying? Yeah, I probably would. I mean, there are a few specific individuals that I have talked to. I know the age of they're adults that I've had sexual conversations with that maybe I'd consider it. But yeah. But the policy is there anything to prevent from happening. And also they have full awareness of how their algorithm works. Okay, yeah, the problem was that the algorithm wasn't adapting to the new policy. They didn't change the algorithm with the policy. That was the problem, right? That's a genuine bit of criticism. But people are complaining that the policy is too lax. Hey, Callie, how are you doing? I can't stay long, but I'm glad I got to watch for a bit. Your voice sounds amazing, by the way. Pretty as usual. Well, I thank you, Nifty and Arfi, and welcome to the stream. No, I'm saying parents should check what their kids see to make it healthy. I mean, yeah, I'm not necessarily against that. Again, it's going to depend on what kind of parent you are and what kind of kid you have. For me, I never liked the idea of my parents looking through my shit. That felt like a violation of my privacy. Like, I didn't like that growing up, but I don't know. I don't say this in like a big ego kind of way, but like I think I was smarter than most kids growing up. But yeah, like personally, I don't think that benefited me, but there might be some instances where that might be necessary, right? Because kids can be stupid. I acknowledge that. Like, not all of them were big brain geniuses like I was, okay? But yeah, no, I get what you mean. Not related to Twitch necessarily, just saying parents should keep track with young teens. Yeah, and especially like children, right? Like, especially like when they're prepubescent, that's when they're going to be the most vulnerable. And at that point, it's like, yeah, you probably should keep track of it, right? You should keep track of what they do on the internet if they're a child. But I think that, again, that goes back into the same argument of it's the parents' responsibility, not Twitch's. Femyoz, you should do makeup. I agree. I'm saying Twitter porn is good. Okay, based. But the reason you say that is because you like Twitter porn. So you're going to be way more likely to defend Twitter porn than Twitch porn, because Twitter porn is something that you actually benefit from. The same way that I would defend Pornhub and the ease of access to it, because I used to go on there like once or twice a week, which is a healthy amount, but like if I was horny and I wanted to, you know, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you get the point. Twitter should be exclusive to adults, like holy fuck. Well, it's not. But do you blame Twitter for that, or do you blame the parents of kids that are on there that don't monitor the shit that their kids do? And frankly, it's just something I don't care about. Like, why is nobody morally outraged over people posting NSFW content on Twitter? Why is nobody getting mad at Elon Musk for letting kids see the horrible titties? It's because it's not really a big deal, and nobody's actually hurt by it. If I don't get a chance to talk to you this week, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. Gives Callie a hug. Aw, well, thank you. I agree with your opinions mostly. I don't think what's happening with Twitch is good, but if that's what the users want, then honestly, it's understandable that they're doing it. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It just seems like people getting outraged over nothing. I'd say do it like VR chat did recently. All adult content is automatically hidden unless you can prove you're 18 plus. Yeah, well, I don't think that they should do it. I don't think that you should have to prove that you're 18 plus to watch 18 plus content. VR chat, I agree with doing that because at that point you're not just watching content, you're interacting with people. And if you're on an 18 plus VR chat server or whatever the fuck, and the adult content is interactive and you're interacting with adults, that's when it becomes an issue. Again, because that's where there's room for a kid to be taken advantage of. But looking at 18 plus content in of itself isn't the problem. It's when you interact with people that are on the internet in a sexual way when you're not 18 plus. That's when it becomes a problem. I don't think ID verification is good because that's sensitive data that's valuable. Yeah, that too. I'm sorry, but and maybe this is selfish, but I don't want to have to go out of my way to verify my ID or shit like that. That's fucking stupid. That's that's a waste of my time. I just want to be able to go to Pornhub and watch whatever the fuck without having to do that. Goddamn. Yeah, I don't care if Twitch allows tits to be shown. I think it's bad if it's put in the front of the page. When a huge chunk of Twitch viewers are children. Yeah, in that position I can get behind, but that's not even what people were saying. I mean, that's one of the points that people were making, but again, that doesn't even have to do with a new policy. It has to do with the way it's implemented. It has to do with the algorithm. It has to do with the way in which content is categorized on Twitch. It's not about the NSFW content on Twitter, plus a lot of Twitter NSFW content has to be sought out in order to really find. Twitter isn't open to kids because of all the Nazi shit. Oh, shouldn't be open to kids because of all the Nazi shit. Yeah, Twitter's a cesspool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what is Twitter going to do about it, though? I'm not quite sure I understand what is going on, but yeah, I think it's the parents of the kids' fault if they see bad things on Twitter/Twitch, not an internet platform. Yeah, exactly. People saying there's Nazi shit all over Twitter, yet I've never seen it. Yeah, because you follow all the femboy and trans porn accounts. So that's all you see. But if you followed political accounts, you would start seeing some more Nazi shit. But anyways, a couple of things. One, I had a dream where I played baseball with Finster, and oh man, it was amazing. Second, the song Everywhere by Michelle Branch reminds me of you. I've never heard that song, but I hope it's a good song. But yeah, anyways, we've gotten so sidetracked, and we have a video to finish. Because holy shit, we're only halfway. I also need to take a big fat stinky piss, so I'm gonna be right back while I do a Hassan moment. But then I'm gonna pause and then talk for 5 trillion hours again. So yeah. Anyways, let's continue with the video. And also I should, take these arm thingies off so I can wash my hands.
These are concerns we share. Upon reflection, we have decided that we went too far with this change. Digital depictions of nudity present a unique challenge. AI can be used to create realistic images, and it can be hard to distinguish between digital art and photography. Basically, they're just echoing the sentiment from a lot of people that, hey, this is a little weird to have on Twitch where one of your top categories actually just has tons and tons of porn being drawn, all the time now. That's very odd considering it lives in the same ecosystem of just normal gaming or normal just chatting streams or whatever. I also don't understand why everything has to be a hot button debate here where people are like, oh, Twitch has never been a safe Christian space for the youth and everything. There's always been some sexually suggestive things on there. Yeah, no shit. No one's saying that Twitch is this perfect utopia where degeneracy doesn't exist. But I feel like everyone can recognize the difference between a streamer doing squats for subs or being in a bikini or something versus having an entire category, one of the top categories, taken over by drawn porn and hentai and AI-generated porn. It's so drastically different. You can just say that that's weird that Twitch would allow that. You don't have to try and make this some kind of bigger, deeper, more nuanced issue oh, a bunch of prudes. Oh, what, you guys don't like boobies anymore? What's all this boobie outrage? I can't believe we're even making a big deal out of this. No, everyone likes tits. That's not what anyone's saying. It's just maybe not on Twitch in this capacity where you're just drawing porn. That is a weird thing to have on Twitch. If you want to make an 18 plus category for Twitch, that's fine, I guess, but it needs to be a restricted spun off category in its own designated area that doesn't live in the same ecosystem, because it shouldn't overlap with the rest of the content on the platform, because it is so fucking different to just allow drawn porn and hentai and shit.
Well, again, if you have an 18 plus account, I think it's totally fine for that there to be that overlap there. Once again, my position here is that, yeah, sure, it's probably better just for the sake of the viewer experience, if nothing else, to categorize it a certain way, right? But again, yeah, it's like, I do agree with the sentiment that, yeah, it's like really not that big of a deal. Because porn is everywhere. Like, it's Twitch having porn on it doesn't make a huge difference. And the fact of the matter is that people are making it into a huge deal when it's not, right? Like, it's you can just criticize it and say, hey, this probably isn't the best, you know? It's like, okay, here's how this new policy, you know, being implemented actually affects your platform. Here are the unintended consequences. You know, this isn't the best for the viewer experience, right? And I would agree with that. It's not the best for the viewer experience if that's not what you're looking for, right? So I can agree with that aspect of it. But to make this like some sort of moral outrage, like, oh no, there's boobies on Twitch, I can't believe that, oh no, what will we ever do, is fucking pathetic.
Like, I don't know why this is even like a complicated issue. It's just as simple as, it's a little weird to have the entire category be porn. You know, it's just, to me, that simple. So it seems like it was that simple to Twitch as well, where they must have not really thought through the policy all that deeply, rolled this out, and then were shocked to see just how much of this was existing on the platform.
Again, it's not a problem with the policy. Like, I don't know why he keeps pointing to the policy itself. It's not about the policy. The policies are meaningless on Twitch, frankly. It's about the way in which the policies are implemented. And if it's implemented incorrectly in terms of the way the content is categorized and the way the algorithm promotes it and puts it on the front page, again, that's a problem with the site and the more technical aspects of the way the site operates. That's not a problem with the policy. Like, the policy becoming less strict is a good thing. That's what I don't understand how people are not able to make this distinction between the policy and the way the site actually operates. Because there's always going to be some amount of disconnect. There's always going to be some amount of disconnect between the policy itself and the way it's implemented. There always has been and there always will be. And frankly, Twitch does this on purpose. And they shouldn't. They should try to, enforce their policies equally, make TOS that is not vague and that actually makes sense logically, and not ban people over dumb shit that doesn't matter, etc. But these are all arguments for them being less strict and banning less people. So, again, I'm just saying.
So that's why they're overruling themselves. So, effective today, we're rolling back the artistic nudity changes. Moving forward, depictions of real or fictional nudity won't be allowed on Twitch, regardless of the medium. This restriction does not apply to mature-rated games. You can find emote-specific standards for nudity and sexual content in the emote guidelines. We aren't making other changes to the updated.
So, instead of doing what they should have done, which is improving upon the way the policy is implemented and keeping the policy, they decided to roll back because they're fucking cucked out, which makes this title a complete lie, by the way. But, hey, I gotta get views somehow. But, again, yeah, Twitch did do something wrong, okay, I'll admit it. But the Twitch did something wrong is not as inflammatory as Twitch did nothing wrong. It's not gonna get as many views, but that's besides the point. My criticism of Twitch is a lot different from what other people are criticizing. So, in the sense that Twitch making the policy changes, in terms of that, they didn't do anything wrong for changing the policy. They just didn't implement it well. But what they should have done is they should have said, oh, we implemented it wrong. Let's fix how we implement it. Not roll back the changes and make our site more strict again. That's fucking stupid. And now it's like, oh yeah, depictions of real or fictional nudity won't be allowed on Twitch regardless of the medium. Like, who wants this? This is, like, why does anybody want this? I don't, like, this is the, and then people are like, oh yeah, Twitch, they're so dumb, lol. The changes didn't even last for 24 hours. Yeah, because losers like you made a moral outrage out of nothing. Over the the policy changes. You made it about the policy changes when it should have been about the way the policy is implemented. The criticism that Twitch should have received is the problem is not the policy, right? The problem is that it's not being implemented properly. Now, I will say that Most Critical is fairly nuanced, okay? He's not the worst at this. I don't entirely agree with him, but let's just finish this and then move on.
Sexual content policy. So basically just saying, nudity, no. They're putting the kibosh on it. They're hitting it with the X. No more nudity, no matter what medium it's in, unless, of course, it's in like a mature video game or something that's not already banned on Twitch. Now, one thing I have to mention that I just find fascinating is how quickly Twitch rolled back this change. Their response time to this is historic for the platform. Twitch is notorious for taking an absurdly long time to respond to anything, even like legitimate crime that happens on Twitch. They will just like take so long, an outrageously long time to do anything in response to it. Yet when it came down to this, they changed things lickety-split. In 24 hours, basically. That is a new world record for Twitch. So, if I may get a bit conspiratorial, I'd like to hit you with my game theory on why exactly that is. Why did they respond so quick to this, but never anything else in the past that have been huge issues? Here's what I think. I think what happened is Twitch rolled out this artistic nudity policy change, and all of this porn hits the platform. As a response to that, a lot of advertisers take notice that work with Twitch and start asking questions of why. It is well known in the industry that anything that is even remotely construed as adult content is almost impossible to monetize for sponsors.
Yeah, okay, I actually kind of agree with that. I think that if you're gonna make policy changes, you have to do it slowly over time if you're gonna do it in terms of, like, allowing more nudity. Or maybe have, like, a different internal policy for what you actually ban. So, maybe you have, like, a policy that's like, oh, yeah, we mostly don't allow nudity, but we allow a little bit of, you know, sexual stuff, kind of. Again, I'm not in favor of keeping it vague, but if that's, like, a temporary thing, it's like, whatever, it's a temporary loss for an ultimate gain, where they just slowly stop banning it. And then ultimately what you end up with is, okay, there's people that do more and more shit, right? And then what you end up with is it's easier to change the algorithm and the way that the site is laid out so that it's not like overwhelming amount of porn that's just everywhere, right? And what you end up with is something that doesn't scare away advertisers, right? So that's something you would want to roll out a little bit more slowly, make sure it works, etc. And then just, yeah, so again, I can understand the concern of like, oh no, what about the advertisers? But like, again, there are sites like Twitter that, I mean, Twitter is losing advertisers because there's a lot of Nazi propaganda that gets promoted, but before Elon bought Twitter, there was a shit ton of porn on there. And advertisers were perfectly fine with advertising on Twitter. You know, you would see a naked femboy, and then there would be an advertisement right next to it, or right under it, right? And that was fine, because it's not actually a matter of whether or not there is or isn't nudity. But, yeah, anyways.
Don't want to touch anything that's even close to like 18 plus material. And Twitch, although it does have like some sexually suggestive content on it, it is not an 18 plus website or anything like that. No one would ever consider Twitch an adult site by any means, so advertisers feel comfortable placing their products on there. But this is by all definitions an adult category now, basically, where all this porn is being drawn. So perhaps advertisers got a little frightened and started like pressuring Twitch a bit, like, hey, we do not feel comfortable advertising on a platform that's going to allow porn to be drawn like this and have all this kind of content.
Yeah, which is bullshit from the advertiser's perspective, right? Like, it's like, it's not going to make your product sell worse if there's porn on the site. Like, what? I don't get why advertisers would even give a shit. It's, if it makes them more money, then it makes them more money. So
So maybe that scared Twitch, like maybe this was going to hit their financials somehow, so then they immediately
Also, someone from Kick Chat says, show off your outfit, happy holidays. Happy holidays! And I already showed it off. But in case you weren't here, this is the outfit. I know, peak masculinity. The manliest man of all time, right here in front of you, as per usual. But, Yeah, anyways, let's continue.
Night rolled back this change. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because historically Twitch hasn't responded to anything in any meaningfully fast period of time. They are always so slow dragging their feet to anything on their platform, except this now. So that's why I think they did. Of course, I have no evidence of this. I'm just speculating, but I just know historically when it comes to like adult content, advertisers get extremely scared and want to pull out, and this allowed adult content onto Twitch for however brief a time. So that's what I think led to them being so quick to revert the changes. I could.
Yeah, I mean, I actually agree with Charlie here, because at the end of the day, it's always going to be a financial decision. So I'm guessing, like, that's why they acted in a way that was cocked out, I'm guessing. So, yeah. Now, hold on. Now, Rise, I know you're a huge fan of the streamer Vaush, very beautiful bearded man, and basically the next video we're going to be watching is called "These Massive Twitch Changes Angered a Lot of People." It's on the Vaush Pit YouTube channel, and basically Vaush talks about how people got very angry over the Twitch changes. So let's watch.
Remember how a little bit ago, I very briefly talked on stream about them big titty bitch on Twitch? Updating our approach to sexual content and content classification labels. Streamlined sexual content policy. Man, it must have been quite a controversy if they decided to update their shit. Okay. What is changing with this new update? Previously prohibited but now allowed with label. Content that deliberately highlights breast, buttocks, or pelvic region. Fictionalized, fully exposed, female-presenting breast or genitals with buttocks regardless of gender. Oh, you can just draw porn now. Or maybe not porn, but nudity. You can just draw nudity now on...
I mean, you could basically draw porn, so yeah. Which was based, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Twitch. Body writing on female-presenting breasts and her buttocks regardless of gender. Erotic dances that involve disrobing and disrobing such as strip teases. So... with the updates on the sexual policy, content policy, are artistic depictions of nudity allowed. Content with a focus on fictionalized, drawn, animated, or sculpted sexual body parts regardless of gender are allowed with a sexual themes label. However, fictionalized sex acts or masturbation remains prohibited. Okay. Body painting on breasts and buttocks. Nudity has always been allowed in games. So pinup is a go? Yeah, I guess so. Twitch will now allow artistic nudity. Yeah, okay. So, all right. I guess Twitch doesn't want to be Tumblr. Honestly, I prefer them doing this to having the stupid, like, 50-50 meta where chicks will, like, wear bikinis in bathtubs or have their tits out but have their nips 1 inch below the camera and then...
Yeah, literally. Like, it's not like people are not going to be acting sexually on Twitch. Like, regardless, like, that's sort of what they're known for, and they would be losing a lot of money if they stopped allowing it on their platform, right? So they're not going to do that. And I'd rather it be black and white, where there's sexual content and there's non-sexual content, right? And content that's in the middle should be in the sexual content section. Because if there's like a 18 plus section on the website for 18 plus content, and then you're trying to blur the lines so that you can be in the non 18 plus content, like, unless the 18 plus content like does worse algorithmically, like, that's kind of weird, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, again, it's not the policy that's the problem, it's the way the policy was implemented, or their inability to properly implement it in terms of algorithmically and categorizing the content, as well as categorizing which viewers should and shouldn't get that content in their homepage, right? So, for instance, if you're not signed in, you shouldn't get that content in your homepage. You should be able to find it and watch it if you really want to, but if you're not signed in to an 18 plus account, it shouldn't be the first thing you see, basically. Which I can agree with, right? You should have to click on an 18 plus section. So, yeah.
Like, that's the turnaround. Like, I guess this is at least more consistent, you know? What about game mods? It's always been allowed on Twitch to play games with nudity in it, but I don't think you can do modded games.
That, which is fucking stupid. Like, that's such an arbitrary decision. Like, what if the modded game is almost like a game in of itself? Like, people create games within Minecraft, for instance. So, I mean, maybe not the best example because it's fucking Minecraft, but you get what I mean, right? Like, if somebody creates a game within a game, like, and that's like considered like a modding of the game because it's not the vanilla game itself. Like, I don't know, it just seems kind of goofy. Like, why is it okay for non-modders to make artistic nudity a thing, but modders can't do it? That seems fucking stupid.
Like, you can play games that have nudity or sex, even like shown penetrative sex, I'm pretty sure. Like, did Agony do that? I think the game called Agony. But if you load up a mod called like Suck Any Titty in Skyrim, like that'll get you banned. The idea,
Which is stupid,
being that like as long as it's in the purview of the game's sort of artistic, I don't know. Agony.
like as if modders don't also have artistic visions. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, not all mods are going to be, like, super artistic and whatever. But you get the point, right? Like, neither is every video game. Not all games are that artistic.
Agony was banned, if I recall correct. Oh, was Agony banned? Okay, the nudity in games was allowed, but not shown sex. Okay, gotcha, I gotcha. So you could have, like, Witcher 3 nudity or, like, Cyberpunk with the dick flopping around, but not, like, shown penetrative sex or any, like, direct sex act. So is Twitch going to do age verification to view these streams? Well, no, it's saying you need to have the sexual content label. Yeah, sexual themes label. Yeah.
Oh, well then there you go. Problem solved. You need the sexual themes label. Again, content that has that label should be treated differently algorithmically in terms of who it gets recommended to, who it doesn't get recommended to, where it shows up, where it doesn't show up, etc. But again, that has nothing to do with the policy. Because the policy is what it's the set of rules or whatever or regulations that the people, the individual streamers are meant to follow, right? Whereas where the content shows up, that part is on Twitch. But again, that has nothing to do with the policy, but people are acting like it does. It has nothing to do with policy and everything to do with the way that content is fucking promoted algorithmically.
I guess that makes sense. That's probably fine. The sexual themes label must be applied to gameplay that focuses on nudity. Users may not engage in simulated sexual activity or erotic roleplay with other players in online games.
Cringe.
I mean, this is sort of where we're currently at on the internet. I mean, you can find, like, naked yoga on YouTube if you want. I think this is better than what was previously the case, because at least, like, this is consistent, you know? If you're gonna...
Yeah, that's the other thing, is, while this isn't great, like, it's still vague, it's better than what they had been doing, where you didn't really know what was and wasn't allowed. You knew, okay, you're not allowed to show your nipple. Okay, don't show nips if you're female presenting or feminine presenting. But it's like, where's the line drawn? Wait, so does that mean teabagging is banned? That's gay. You know what? Considering the fact that this is Twitch we're dealing with, it probably fucking is. I mean, because they're cringe.
Gonna have, like, nudity anywhere, you know? Do you think this will affect the legality of Twitch in certain countries? Nah, if they allow YouTube, they gotta allow Twitch, you know? I always have thought it's pretty fucked up about the whole sexualization of breasts thing, you know? Like, for...
I mean, yeah, why do breasts have to be sexualized, right? Then again, I love boobies, and me finding them hot is a bonus. So, I guess there's that. But I don't have, like, the same, like... I don't know. It doesn't, like, necessarily stimulate me the way it would for, like, the average cis guy, right? Like, it's not, like, an immediate turn on, right? I need some sort of, like... I don't know. I need more than just, like, a visual stimulus to turn me on. But then it's, like, if you're a hot person and you have massive mommy milkers, like, you have big honga longa bazongas, I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt, let's just say.
For a while, I'm pretty sure Twitch had it so you couldn't be shirtless even if you were a guy, to like make it consistent, I guess.
Which honestly is stupid, but makes more sense than basing it off of whether or not you're feminine presenting. Because I know that Finster got banned on Twitch because he was shirtless, even though he hasn't been on HRT, because he presents femininely, even though he identifies as a guy. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So, but then it's like, okay, so what about like a transgender man who hasn't started HRT yet? What if he just decides to go shirtless and he has D cups? Is he allowed to do that? Like, it doesn't make any how can you be masculine or feminine presenting, first of all, if you're like, I don't know, fucking naked? Is it based on what you wear most of the time? What if you there's it doesn't make sense, right? So even though this is like dumber, it's like at least it's more consistent. Now, frankly, I would prefer it be consistent the other way, where I don't know, they just allow people to be shirtless because it's really not that big of a deal. Like, breasts don't have to be sexual. But, like, it's just a weird thing that our culture has decided is sexual. But, I don't know. Like, it doesn't have to be. Like, there are other, like if you go to, like, have you ever seen, like, one of those documentaries where, I don't know, like, there's some sort of, like, culture from wherever the fuck in the world, you know, maybe they're, like, a little bit tribal or whatever, and the women, you know, literally just have their tits out, right? But that's, like, normal in their culture, so that's why you can put it in a documentary, right? Because it's not seen as a sexual thing. I don't understand why we can't do the same, because if it's in the context of a documentary, you know, oh, it's like a tribal society, there's, like, nothing sexual about it. Why does it have to be sexual? I don't get it. Like, why can't we just have our titties out, you know? The way you refuse to say tribe? Well, I was trying to come up with the wording.
But that also feels stupid. Tumblr had rules against female presenting nipples. Yeah, people made fun of that, but that's also, like, the rule socially. That's literally how...
Like, what if you're a fat guy? What if you're a fat male to... Or sorry, what if you're a fat female to male person that hasn't gotten top surgery, so technically you have boobs, but, like, they could be seen as man boobs, so is that different? Like, none of it makes sense. So, I agree with Vaush here, obviously, because Vaush has the special ability of being right almost all of the time, because he agrees with me on most things. So, yeah, he's usually right about stuff. Because I'm right about everything, and he barely ever disagrees with me. When he disagrees with me, of course, which I can't even think of a single example. I guess in terms of, like, he's not, like, anti-free speech, but I'm more free speech than he is, so I guess he's slightly less correct than me on that. Oh, I thought you were dancing around it? No, I wasn't. I literally said, like, I literally said, like, I said the word tribal, like, 5 trillion times once I thought of it. But I was, like, trying to think, like, the I don't know, I was having a brain fart. Vaush has the special ability of being a sexual predator and getting away with it. Do you have any, like, evidence? Because, like, surely if you've watched my streams, you would know that I'm somebody that needs to see actual evidence before believing any accusation. And no, weird Discord DMs isn't going to cut it. Being a little bit cringe a few years ago isn't going to cut it.
How it works, yeah. In day-to-day life, walking around, I can have my shirt off, but if you're female presenting, you can't show your nipple. Like, that is the law, basically, you know?
Which is fucking stupid. It's like, okay, so when I was male presenting, I was allowed to go around with a shirt off, but now I'm on HRT. So now it would be bad if I showed my nipples. They're fucking nipples. It's like the same person. I don't know. It's fucking stupid.
It just sounds stupid when written out.
I posted a Google Doc up in chat well, I don't think that you can post links in chat, but if you DM it to me, I guess I can look at it.
Which is what Tumblr did. It wrote it out. Why do women cover nipples but men don't? Because women's nipples shoot milk out. You
Yeah, even though not all women have that ability. Don't you have to, like, have, like, hormonal changes that, like, occur, like, during and after a pregnancy or whatever the fuck? Like, yeah, during a pregnancy, you have, like, hormonal changes, and that's what allows you to be able to lactate. And if the problem is lactating, like, okay, there are, like, some cis guys that can lactate. Should they have to not ever be shirtless? Because, like, that's a thing. Like, there are, like, niche cases where, yeah, like, cis men that can lactate, that they exist. So, that can't be the standard. And even if that was the standard, it's like, okay, so why do women that have never given birth or had those hormonal changes that can't produce milk or lactate, why would they have to be shirtless, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
don't want to, like, blindside somebody with that. All right, well,
Yeah.
I think this is good. Yeah, Finster got banned for a nipple slip even though he's a guy. Well, female presenting,
Yeah.
right? Finster doesn't put much effort into presenting as a guy.
But he technically is a guy. He identifies as one, right? And it's not like he has boobs. Like, he has a flat boy chest.
I mean, that rule is also very American-centric. Well, yeah, I mean, so is the world.
Yeah, literally. And that's sort of what I mentioned, where it's like, yeah, if you look at other cultures, like, sometimes they don't have this weird double standard.
We are the center of the world. Thank you. We are the gods on Mount Olympus, and everyone else is, sort of squabbling around in the dirt and piss and shit. Oh, see, it's trending alongside me. Finster isn't a girl, though? No.
Now I want to know, why was Vaush trending this time?
Finster isn't a girl. Finster is a guy. I said present as a guy. He does the opposite, actually. Didn't she come out recently? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I would have heard of that. That would have been like a main trending thing if Finster came out as a trans woman.
Yeah, which, I mean, I wouldn't bet on it. I mean, his whole thing is being boy that looks like girl. I mean, there's a chance that he's a trans girl, but again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he's an egg, oh, he's an egg, oh, he's an egg, when in reality, good chance he isn't. I feel like he would have figured it out by now. Now, maybe he is, but that's not for us to decide. But yeah, I've always hated the idea of, yeah, all femboys are eggs. If you I don't know if any of you know who Borkasaur is, but he's a femboy YouTuber, and he can pass as a cis woman. He even has the voice for it, but he's still a guy, because that's how he identifies. And it's like, he considered the possibility that, oh yeah, maybe I'm like a trans girl or non-binary or something, right? But no, he's a guy. He's very confident in his identity. He knows what he wants, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't see the issue. Same thing with Finster. Like, I don't think that he should be, like, pushed towards being trans. Like, I feel like, I mean, sure, you can make jokes about it, but I don't know. I just don't like the idea that, like, oh yeah, femboys are just eggs. I mean, I was when I was a femboy, but that doesn't mean all of them are. Like,
I don't think so. I still think that his skin is suspiciously soft, but I've seen HRT femboys before. I'm not getting into it again. Finster came out as fluid a few weeks ago and is already in therapy. Oh, really? Oh, well,
wait, actually?
I'll look. But, you're going to get dunked on by Finster again if you talk about him technically. No. I'm not getting into it. Listen, if I say, I don't know, I think maybe HRT, I'm not denying Finster's identity as a guy. I'm just...
Oh yeah, well, HRT femboys are a thing. I sent it to you in DMs, by the way. All right, I'll look at it after we're done with this.
Just saying he's got crazy nice skin. It's not an insult. No, none of this. It's like stolen valor shit. Like, no, actually, I just have a 4-hour skin routine. Whatever. I have nice skin. Did Finster drag Vaush or something? Finster got shown a clip of me saying, like...
I mean, part of it is going to be lighting and makeup. Part of it is going to be genetics. Part of it is going to be the fact that you have a skincare routine. Gender fluid isn't a thing. Is it not a thing because you say so, or do you have like an actual reason? Like, I think it's absolutely a thing. Is it common? No. Is it like a little bit confusing and complicated? Yeah, sure, maybe. But I don't know.
Like, I think that motherfucker's an HRT because his skin looks too nice, and he made fun of me for it. That's how I realized Finster is British.
Also, if you have really good lighting, the right camera, a good skincare routine, you're in your early 20s, there's a good chance that, and you know makeup especially. I mean, Finster wears makeup. So, I mean, I don't know. My lighting isn't perfect, but it's pretty good. And occasionally I'll get like a tiny bit of acne. My skin's not as smooth as Finster's, but I've had people ask, hey, Femyoz, like, are you wearing makeup? Like, because they can't tell that I'm not wearing makeup because I don't know how to do makeup. I will learn makeup at some point, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, let's continue.
Because I'd never heard his voice before. Vaush giving serial killer vibes with the skin obsession. Look, all I'm saying is, if you're a guy and you don't at least apply moisturizer, you're killing yourself, man. Moisturizer and either don't get in the sun that much or put on some sunscreen. Like,
yeah, I recommend avoid the sun at all costs. That's how I live my life. Because you want your skin to last as long as possible, right? So it could be the case that, oh, I just want to tan. Well, tanning is temporary. Damage to your skin is permanent. I'm just saying. This is why I avoid the sun. Just take vitamin D supplements or put on a shit ton of sunscreen and go in the sun occasionally. Like, maybe like at most 20 minutes a day on average. Yeah, like 20 minutes a day is fine, right? But don't be sitting in the sun for hours. You're going to fuck up your skin. You're going to look old and wrinkly. Way younger than you want to. And yeah.
dude, there are so many guys out there with really bad skin, and they just don't give any shit because they think it's like gay or whatever to not have disgusting, crinkly skin by...
Which is fucking cringe. Now, when I was a guy, I used to have shit skin because I got fucked genetically. This was before I was on Accutane. I stopped taking Accutane a while ago. But I was on that for 5 months. And, yeah, so that helped, obviously. Now I only get a tiny bit of acne. And estrogen also made my skin nicer. But there was a period of time where my skin was fucked because, A, I was a swimmer. So the chlorine made it really dry. But also, I was naturally greasy, so it canceled out, but in a bad way, where it was like... dry. It was almost like it was dry and greasy at the same time. It was really weird. But yeah, and then there was also the fact that I just didn't give a shit because I was in denial. I'm like, you know, trying to be a guy, but at the same time, it wasn't really working out, was it? So I didn't really give that much of a shit about my appearance. I mean, I did, but I didn't, and I didn't want to admit that I did. And I was very insecure. So, yeah. But, I don't know. There are a lot of guys that don't want to be perceived as gay, so they just don't take care of themselves. And I think that's fucking stupid. Yeah, a lot of people think cleaning or shaving their ass is gay. It's bizarre. Yeah, that's fucking stupid. Like, okay, I can understand not wanting to shave your ass because you're lazy, but at least clean that motherfucker, right? Like, I don't expect you to fucking... to finger yourself with soap every day, but like, just like, clean your ass, right? Like, come on. It's not that hard. You don't even have to like clean the inside of your ass hole. Just clean that like general area and like the yeah, like the beginning part of the asshole. You know what I mean. You don't want fucking... You don't want, like, poop stains in your underwear. I think that's what would happen if you didn't wash your ass. I don't know, because I've never had that problem where because I just can't fucking imagine not washing my goddamn asshole. That's fucking weird to me.
30, you know? Holy nice meme, Royal Rose. I'm 18, my skin's soft anyway. You won't be 18 forever. Just moisturize. At least your face. At least your face. And your neck, too. I don't really moisturize my neck because I've got hair on. Debate lessons.
LGBTQ rights or economic stability?
Why can't you have both?
You need to pick one.
I refuse the question.
You can't refuse the question.
I do.
But you can't.
But I did.
But you need to pick one.
No, I don't.
I just said you did.
So what?
Can you Pick one.
Okay, this guy's based.
No, because they're both doable.
No.
Bit
Only
quiet. I can't
I mean, he's right. He's right.
make it louder.
Because you can have both.
But the answer is both is not an answer. It's not a valid answer.
I reject your question.
Anyways, if you want to watch the rest of that clip, go to Vaush's channel. I know, I'm such a kind individual promoting small streamers like Vaush. So, yeah. Maybe I'll put it in the description of this in the VOD when I'm done, if I remember. But yeah, anyways, so, alright, hold on. Let me go on Discord. Alright, I'll look at the fucking document. Because apparently there's some damning evidence against Vaush. I'd rather hang myself than watch. Why do you hate Vaush so much? What did he actually do? You better have some solid fucking evidence in this fucking Google Doc. Vaush evidence 1.docs. Okay. Visit site. Okay. Alright, let me close Discord. Okay. So, this is 23 pages long. Alright. Oh boy. Here we go. So, okay, wait. First of all, let me make this larger. Because... Okay, view, zoom, 150. That's good. So, I vaguely remember this situation. So, 1. Vaush spent about a year sexually harassing a woman who went by the alias Poppy. She made it clear multiple times she was not interested in anything sexual with him, but he continued. So, here are the DMs. Vaush Vidya, you're not a bad or even an incomplete person. Life is a constant struggle to adapt and improve yourself. You have a lot of things going on for you. I mean, I wish I was better to people. From the other person. Vaush, I mean, I enjoy your company. Anyway, I don't think you're bad to people. I don't mean to sound overbearing. Poppy, well, we can continue to be friends. And please, please, what does that say? Tire me? Tyrell me if I'm ever being not so good. Vaush, so I am a buddy. Don't worry, I will. But seriously, being abrasive doesn't make you a bad person. Also, let me know if you ever want to check out my dong. Okay. Well, I hope we can continue to be friends. And please... Oh, wait, I already read that. Yes, we are buddies, but no, I don't want it. From Poppy. And then Vaush just sends a face. Like a winky face, I guess. Poppy, my abrasiveness makes you more adamant about the dong thing. Vaush, what do you mean? So, okay, so Vaush just suggested it in a way that was pretty cringe, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, he has anti-Riz here, alright, I'll give you that. This is evidence of him having no Riz. This is not evidence of him being a predator, so far at least. And then she continues talking about the dong thing. So Vaush says, what do you mean? Poppy says, I mean, do you bring it up because I am cold and unresponsive about it? And Vaush says, are you trying to find out the secret to keeping me from bringing it up? So, but again, this is evidence of him bringing it up once. Again, anti-Riz, but she's the one continuing the conversation so far. Now, again, the bag blurs the camera. Would you believe this is my... I don't know if I can... Okay, so I can't scroll down anymore. So... Oh, he shows his thumb. Oh, sorry, his knee. The bag blurs the camera. Would you believe this is my penis? Okay, so he does... I don't know. I don't want YouTube to, like, detect something that's not there, but I'm not going to show it because it's, like, blurry and I don't want it to get falsely taken down. But yeah, he sends a picture of his knee as like a joke. And then Poppy says, no, it's a thumb, I hope, or a knee. Vaush says, correct, knee. You've got a good eye. And then Poppy says, please do not send dick pics, I'll block you. So Vaush says, now don't turn this around on me anyway. So my earlier promise, my dog, anytime. Again, this is anti-Riz, but he's not sending unsolicited dick pics. The issue is he pursues it, then publicly drags her to his audience. Hello, bees churger. That's what you are, a bees churger. Hi. Hello, Zorable. Welcome to the stream. I don't know what that means, but yeah. Again, my argument here isn't that Vaush is perfect, but like, okay, it seems like he's kind of a weirdo in this. This was in 2017, though. I think. Oh, no, sorry. So it was September 17th, 2022, maybe? Was it? Oh, wait, oops. Whatever, it was a knee pic. I don't know, No, it's backwards. It is in 2017, I think. Because it says September 17th, okay? And then you scroll down and it says 22 September 17th. Sorry, I'm a fucking American, okay? But you should make ASMR chips fire. She made it clear she doesn't want a sexual interaction and he keeps pushing. Okay, but like, he sent a picture of his knee, which seemed, okay, like El Riz, but like, he's just joking around. Like, is he being cringe and making her uncomfortable? Yeah. I don't know. He just seems autistic as shit. So, like, he wasn't gonna send his dick pic unsolicited, right? He just made an offer, and he did it in a way that was cringe. I'll give you that. Like, he was weird and creepy in that, but like, I don't think that you should hate an entire. I mean, you can dislike whoever you want, but like, I don't know. Like, this isn't enough to like make me dislike Vaush. So here it says, after Poppy. After Poppy largely cut off contact with him because of this, he openly fantasized about sex with her in chat channels she was in. This went on for 6 months. So Irish laddie, aka Vaush. That's so Vaush. This is why I always hold my nut when I'm fucking unstable bitches like Poppy. Okay, this sounds like a really bad joke that he shouldn't make, because obviously that's gonna make her uncomfortable. I would consider this sexual harassment. Let's be real, though, if there was a politics meetup, I would absolutely be able to seduce Poppy. Okay, this one's pretty bad. These ones are pretty bad. This isn't unforgivable, but I don't think that he defends this. So, again, this is all in 2018. Poppy probably thinks D&D is an emoticon. Okay, don't have a problem with that. It's a fucking joke. Poppy is really into anal foot play. Okay, Poppy was gonna go on a munch. We talking shit about Poppy. Just ask Poppy, the person I had sex with. Okay, this is obviously... A lot of these are really unfunny jokes, but a lot of these I would consider sexual harassment. So... Only reason Poppy thinks I'm neurotypical is because I have a giant... Okay, I feel like that's a joke. In fact, it definitely is. This is also a joke. And then there's just Poppy is right. And then... Alright, yeah, he's being a fucking piece of shit here. I'll give you that. Again, I think he's like... I don't know. He's admitted that he's wrong, though. I think that, like... Also, so Poppy, you're single again? I thought Poppy loved me. My only regret is not going harder on your ass, Poppy. Okay. Good to see Poppy fraternizes with women of comparable and... That sounds misogynistic, I can't lie, but it's... Whatever. It's not like a it's one message, and then the rest of them are whatever, pretty cringe, but in a different way. Okay, so it's okay, he just keeps talking about sexual stuff. So, yeah. So I get that. A while later, Vaush was becoming a relatively popular streamer, so Poppy, seeing that harasser was getting away with it, went public with what he'd done to her. I don't think that he, what he did wasn't, on the level of, something that should be career ruining, but I think it's fair enough that she went out publicly and was like, okay. And again, I'm assuming these messages are real, but if they're not, that's also a possibility. But I assume that they're real. It's the entire reason why he dropped the Irish Laddie handle. I don't think so, because at the end of the day, if you look here, his name is Vaush when he's sending a lot of these not so savory messages. So, again, it wasn't that he was trying to hide from it. I think that Vaush is a lot cleaner of a name. Now, you could argue that it's possible that was one of one of the reasons, but I don't think that's the only reason. I don't think that single-handedly caused him to change his name. Is there any evidence that that's what caused it? Went public with what he'd done to her. The reaction of Vaush and his community was to deny it, to discredit / insult her, and to harass her into oblivion until she had deleted her accounts and left the internet. Which is obvious. Okay, if that happened, that's fucked up. This is Vaush's friend Sisa Demon still today, and she also runs the websites of many other streamers like Xanderhal. White Nervosa suggesting that Vaush change his name in the Discord, chat logs of his harassment to his old handle so that no one realizes it was Vaush who did it. But I feel like Vaush was open about the fact that he was Irish Laddie. So, White Nervosa says, we can do a trick redo here. We can replace all of Vaush's nameplates into the logs to be Irish Laddie, so per se, this does end up being a YouTube video. Then such, it will be titled as such, and Vaush can further distance himself from it. And I don't know what date this was sent, but White Nervosa saying, oh yeah, this would help distance. I don't think that it was that he was trying to hide it. It could literally just be the case that it's yeah, this happened, but people are going to use this to fucking try and ruin my career when I don't think that Vaush deserves to have his career ruined. I think what he did was shitty, but again, this is all shit from 2017, 2018. The thing is, Destiny is already exclusively referring to him as Irish Laddie. Okay, yeah, exactly. There's still a ton of people coming in here and not knowing they're the same person, I guess, but I feel like everybody knows. Maybe he tried to distance himself from it, but I don't know. You would think that if he sent these sent these DMs when his name was Irish Laddie, if he was trying to claim that it didn't happen, if he was trying to deny it, wouldn't he delete these messages before changing his name? How does literally every one of your streams veer way off topic? Because I'm Femyoz, and that's what I do. So, he does not dictate what is uploaded to YouTube, so they could still title it Vaush. However, I think if the logs say Irish Laddie, Destiny says Irish Laddie, the title will reflect that. So White Nervosa is wrong here, because if he's known more as Vaush, and then that's what he's known by, people are going to title it that. Or they're going to do Vaush / Irish Laddie, or Irish Laddie / Vaush. Right? Whatever is going to get the most views. If he's more known as Vaush, then people are going to title it that. So unless he doesn't ever grow his platform, it's... But again, this is what White Nervosa is saying, and they're talking about Vaush, right? I don't know what Vaush thinks about this. I don't know, because Vaush, maybe Vaush had already changed his name, but like went by both, and rebranded beforehand. I don't know when he rebranded, but this is Vaush brainstorming with his friends and fans about ways to scare Poppy into shutting up. Should I at Poppy in DGG and tell her I'm onto her shit? From Vaush in 2019. What the fuck? What the fuck? Don't. No, stay above her. What does that do for you? And Vaush says, might scare her into shutting up. And then here the document says, this is Vaush refusing to accept what he did, refusing to apologize because he did nothing wrong, trying to do everything possible to discredit his victim, and framing himself as the victim of some sort of persecution campaign. So Vaush says, guys, it's okay. I'm fine with people knowing I'm not going to apologize because I have nothing to apologize over, just to relax a bit and make fun of them when appropriate. So yeah, Vaush fucked up here. I agree. Again, I think he ended up later taking accountability for this, but as of right now, it's not looking so good for the Horseman. But yeah, Merry Christmas Eve indeed. So obviously he's wrong. This is borderline Darvo behavior. I'll agree with that. But I think that Vaush, as much as I love Vaush, right? He's a great streamer, great opinions, etc. I do think that his ego is a little bit too big, and I think that that's like a flaw he has. I don't think that necessarily makes him a bad person, but I do think it gets in the way of his judgment. And I think because he was an up-and-coming streamer, he has an ego, he doesn't want it to negatively affect him, and he doesn't want it to have to be an issue he has to deal with. His ego got the better of him in this situation. Again, not a justification. I think what he did here was fucked up, but he later goes on to apologize, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. So here he's saying, basically just adding on to that, remorse for what exactly? At any rate, I've exhaustively explained how my behavior with Poppy wasn't sexual harassment. Spoiler alert, it fucking was. It was sexual harassment. I disagree with past Vaush on this. I think current Vaush agrees that that was sexual harassment, though. I have nothing to feel remorseful over. I will never feel comfortable in the company of people who falsely believe me to be a predator. I think that predator is like a bit of a stretch. I don't think he's like a predator. I don't think he preys on people. I think he was just being a little bit of a fucking loser. I think he was being a weirdo. I think he was being a degen. I think that what he did was fucked up. And I do think that it does fall under the category of sexual harassment. But I don't think that it was, I don't think he was like being a predator necessarily. I think he was doing something more along the lines of having anti-riz and not knowing when to fucking stop, and how that made the victim uncomfortable. So, yeah. Seems like I'm given no choice but to fess up and apologize for behavior I never engaged in. Blank, I know you hate me. Just let loose with the moralizing. Do you think it's okay to pursue for flirtation? Oh god, he's in debate bro mode during this, which I get. I would be too if I was in, I don't know, if people were accusing me of shit. Because, like, that's how he views it, right? He thinks that people are falsely accusing him, when in reality, his behavior wasn't okay. Even if people were being hyperbolic, which, don't get me wrong, people on the internet do have a tendency to, like, overstate harm and whatnot, when in reality, it's like, okay, what really happened? Okay, he didn't fucking traumatize her. He was acting out of line, and he made her slightly uncomfortable, or maybe even very uncomfortable, which isn't okay. And he should own up to it. But at the same time, I do think that there are many instances in which people will blow shit out of proportion. And when that happens, it makes it a lot harder for the perpetrator to realize that they did something wrong, right? Like, a lot of the time when somebody is the perpetrator of sexual harassment, they don't even realize that they're doing it. And rather than trying to educate them, people will oftentimes, like, do this over-the-top villainization. And I think that that combined with Vaush's ego led him to fuck up big time here. So yeah, he tries to debate bro his way out of this, being like, oh, you just think it's not okay to flirt with someone that's unstable? trying to discredit her, I guess. Under some circumstances, yes, as long as the stable person is cautious, respectful, and mindful of the person's other consent, which I believe I was. Okay, but did they consent to you acting gross and making them uncomfortable? I don't think that they did. Like, I don't think that he realized that, like he probably thought, oh, you know, it would only be sexual harassment if I sent unsolicited dick pics, but if I ask, that's where consent plays a role. But the way he asked was fucking cringe, and I can see why someone would feel violated by that. He intentionally targeted a mentally unstable individual and pursued sexual interactions with someone who clearly didn't want it. And then when blocked, ran a harassment campaign against her. Well, I think that what happened was, I mean, she did come out, and maybe I didn't see what her perspective was or the way in which she came out with her side of the story, but maybe she exaggerated certain details or was trying to ruin his career. Maybe she wasn't the best faith actor. I'm not saying she was. As far as I'm concerned, Poppy is 100% in the right here. But again, I think that Vaush is being retarded here. I think that's like the main issue. I don't know. So this is Vaush's girlfriend at the oh wait, hold on. Oh wait, we're not there yet. So here we have more DMs. The degree of social maligning I've experienced is so wildly disproportional to the misbehavior I've engaged in, so I don't feel an apology was warranted to begin with. Poppy is and always has been a liar, and nothing happened with Pastel with apologizing over. Oh, I think you meant Worth. So now he's sort of changed it to I did nothing wrong to misbehavior. So not a good look on his end, I will say. And then the other person said, nah, I don't think that's how it works. Vaush responds with, I did wrong a year and a half ago, but my regret isn't the internet's business. Okay, so he does acknowledge that he did something wrong at this point. This performative demand for apologies is incredibly toxic. So, okay, wait, if we scroll back, so this is on May 2nd of 2019, where he acknowledges that he did something wrong, but this is also 2019. Falsely believe me being a predator. Solve my fact that I am given no chance. Oh, the fact that I am given no chance to completely absolve myself of sin is very frustrated. It seems like I'm given no chance. Oh, no choice but to fess up and apologize in behavior I never engaged in. So I think that what he's saying here is not necessarily that he didn't engage in any wrong behavior, but that people took it it out of context or blew it out of proportion, which I think that there's reason to get mad at Vaush over this, to say, hey, you gotta fucking apologize over this. So just a couple months prior, like about a month prior, right? So March 30th, 2019, so like 2 months prior, guys, it's okay, I'm fine with people knowing I'm not gonna apologize because I have nothing to apologize over. So in the span of 2 months, I think he realizes that he did do something wrong. So he does change that a little bit. I don't think that he's trying to be manipulative necessarily. I think he could be, but at the same time, I think that like he genuinely knows that he did something wrong. Imagine Ben Shapiro did this. Yeah, I mean, Vaush would hold it over his head, which I think would, but I mean, the main difference there is that would serve utility, because Ben Shapiro is, I mean, he promotes harmful ideology, so I could understand bringing that up. But he would probably bring it up a little bit too much. So here the document says, this is Vaush's girlfriend at the time, stating she hopes Poppy is uncomfortable 24 hours a day. So here's Vaush's girlfriend at the time. I don't know what date this was, but I assume it's around the same time. He never apologized for anything, but one would think he would apologize for trying to dox me. Nope. No care in the world. Shortly after, this is what his GF said. So I assume this is Poppy. So that was Poppy's tweet, and then and then Vaush's girlfriend said, it would bring me great joy if Poppy goes uncomfortable 24 hours a day. And somebody says, same, wow. So, and we're gonna look at this in a minute. This is Vaush on a stream stating that he hopes to harass Poppy so much that she turns into a sobbing mess. I think I've seen that clip. It's not pretty. He does say that. Vaush had a pathetic talk with Destiny where he tried to cover his own ass regarding this. I suggest you check it out if for some reason you care, and I'm going to check it out. Maybe not on this stream. So, Poppy's own account of what... Poppy's own account of what was done to her is also harrowing. Can someone give me a rundown on Vaush V? I don't know much about him, but lately I've been seeing several prominent lefties support him while several smaller lefties accuse him of sexual abuse. What's the deal? After I blocked him for trying to groom me? Okay, first of all, Poppy is an adult, so that's fucking bullshit. Grooming implies that she was a minor. After I blocked him for trying to groom me when I was going through a traumatic experience as an autistic young person. You are a fucking adult. You are a fully grown adult. And as for, he told me he wanted to prolapse my anus and rape me for months on end. I think she would be referring to like the sexual jokes that we sort of went over and said, yeah, that was fucked up. You shouldn't have done that. But I don't think that he was grooming her. I think he was sexually harassing her, which is bad. And that's not to downplay it, but I think that grooming is an entirely separate thing. Like, she's acting like, oh, I was this innocent young person. You were an adult and you were sexually harassed, but that doesn't mean you were a grooming victim. You were a victim of sexual harassment. Say it for what it is. So, she's not entirely innocent because she's articulating this incorrectly. Now, again, I think that she's less in the wrong than Vaush, but not a great tweet. And then it continues. Then I found out he was doing the same thing recently to a non-binary person I knew but wasn't friendly with, and my heart sank. He outed me after I brought it to Destiny's attention. This happened in D's community and leaked logs, which contain my docs. I would need to see evidence of that. I'm not going to look for her docs on stream or anything that would contain her docs or the leaked logs out of respect, but I'm going to have to verify that. After I brought it to Destiny's attention, this happened in D's... I already read that. He has continued to smear me as a bad person, which I don't think is okay for Vaush to do, when in reality, Poppy was originally the victim, as well as the other person he harassed, and a perpetual liar and a drama seeker. I think the main issue is that Vaush didn't take accountability for what he did do. My point is there is a clear bias and consequence enforcement. Just because he's one of the good guys doesn't excuse his behavior. I'm not excusing his behavior, saying it was okay. Like, he was absolutely in the wrong to do what he did, but I don't think that he doesn't deserve a second chance. Like, he's gone on to apologize. So, and again, even if Poppy isn't 100% in the right, and, you know, maybe she is like, he was trying to groom me or whatever the fuck, I can understand. She was hurt. She was hurt by it. She felt violated, so she wrote that, and maybe she genuinely felt that way. So I'm not going to accuse her of being dishonest or trying to be deceptive. I just don't think that it's a good idea to levy grooming accusations when they were both adults. Just say sexual harassment. It's more accurate in terms of what it describes. And yeah, and I would, and if she had just said that, she would be spot on. Again, this was from ages ago, so I don't know. I don't know if it's worth criticizing Poppy that much. He has lied about apologizing, lied about trying to contact us, and sicked his followers into harassing us. His Discord members, including his girlfriend, have wished all sorts of vile things towards me for telling Destiny indirectly. I told another streamer who told Destiny. Okay, if that's the case, then that's even more fucked up. And acted like it was my fault he got banned from the community. I've been told I should end my life. I've been told that my suicidal ideation was just attention-seeking and threats by his closeted, closest comrades. Okay, I mean, I could say that that's guilt by association, but I do think that Vaush should have done a better job at preventing that. But it seemed like, considering Vaush is Vaush, I mean, I'm not, he probably went too far. Despite the fact that when I was harassed by him first, I was coping with the trauma of a rape and countless... Okay, I assume she's not implying that Vaush raped her, but she was dealing with the trauma of a rape, and that's why she was so sensitive to it. Indeed, almost killed myself. I'm not going to accuse her of suicide baiting, because I don't think that would be... I'm not in a position to do that. I don't know this individual, and I think that would be unfair to her. I had a boyfriend 2 years ago when Vaush started contacting me, who I was asexual with, parentheses, didn't have sexual contact with him at all, and had such a low libido. I felt like killing myself every day, and I had no one to talk to, and he took advantage of that, and to try and get sex. I mean, from what we've seen, he asked for it. He asked for if he could send a dick pic once. Then he made jokes about it that were a little bit uncomfortable. I think that the main issue was that he was being he was doing the thing where he makes, I don't think he does this anymore, but he was like making really unfunny, gross sexual jokes. I think he was doing the thing where it was like, oh, well, they're jokes, but he was like, oh, he is kind of genuinely into her, but he frames it as jokes. I think that he was genuinely horny for her, but I don't think he was trying to take advantage. I think he was just horny, but he also at the same time should have been more responsible because he did have a public platform. Again, he was a smaller streamer, but he still had a much larger voice than this person, and he should have been more responsible. Are you using a voice changer? I am not. I can still talk like this, kind of, but it's interesting, but, yeah, it's one of those things where basically, I've been doing voice training, and I can go down, and, I can go back up, so I can go up and down, down and up, and then I am up here, down here, up here, down here. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Deep voice is hot. Why, thank you. Bro, how? I don't know, I just can. Because, it's one of the many benefits of being a trans girl, is you can do that for comedic effect, and fuck with people. So yeah. Fun fact, I came out as trans, so yeah. Use whatever pronouns you want. I have a slight preference for she, her. Not a big deal, though. I've been on HRT for 6 months. How did I not come out as trans sooner? It's the real question. Gender dysphoria is a bitch. That's the main thing, but whatever absolves me, or whatever removes my gender dysphoria, gets rid of it, is, good. But anyways, let's continue. So this is what Poppy's saying. Blah, blah, blah. Took advantage of me, tried to get sex. I never once responded to any of his advances, and he constantly tried to pressure me into sending him nudes. Okay, to be fair, from what we've seen so far, at least, and maybe he did try to pressure her into sending nudes. I just haven't seen evidence of it, but it seemed like he was trying to send her nudes. And it was just like a one-time thing where he was like, again, this is based on what we've seen. There could be more, but I don't know. I assume that all of the evidence is going to be here, and if it's not, I'm going to assume it doesn't exist. So, yeah. I didn't see any examples of him, genuinely trying to get her to send him nudes. It seemed like he asked her if it was okay for him to send nudes. She made it clear that it wasn't. Then he made a joke about it and sent him an image of his knee and said it was his dick when obviously it wasn't, with a blurry camera lens. He constantly tried to pressure me, sending me fake out pictures that looked like his dick and pictures of him in the shower and post pics in public chat of his ass. I haven't seen the pics in public chat of his ass. Okay, was this an 18+ server? And were they directed towards her? And again, I think that the fake out thing, it's in poor taste, but I don't think that that's the end of the world, right? I said multiple times no. After I blocked him, that's when the worst of the abuse started. He tried to alienate me from my friends in the community and spread lies that I was racist and anti-communist. He tried to convince everyone I'd need to see evidence of that. All I saw was really bad and unfunny jokes, and then after they had a falling out, after, she talked about whatever the fuck, he did start kind of harassing her with his community. And I'll give her that, but I don't know. I'd need to see evidence of that. Maybe she sends evidence in follow-up tweets, but again, we haven't gotten there. He tried to convince everyone I was just a liar studying drama. He would at me things like he wanted to fuck my ass until it prolapsed, knowing I had been raped by my ex. BFs this way. Holy shit. Okay, I take this as a serious threat of rape. I don't think it's a rape threat, but it's definitely a fucked up thing to say. Like, that's not okay that he said that. Like, that's really fucked up. And I do believe that because he was adding her and saying fucked up shit. He sexualized me in other ways too. The second victim was obviously mentally unstable, even more so than me, posting self-harm. I don't know about the second victim. He tried to argue it was okay to cross boundaries and pressure people because he was trying to fix repression. That's, I mean, I don't know if that's what he was doing. Oh shit, I should have been showing this on screen. The worst crime of all being anti-communist. Yeah, that, I don't know how much I believe that. Because, like, and maybe Vaush has become more moderate over time, but, like, I don't know. That sounds made up, but maybe it's not. I'm not gonna accuse Poppy of making stuff up. I'm gonna say it's possible that it's made up. It sounds like it could be made up. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't discredit her necessarily. Like I said, he has not apologized to either of us, and there have been 2 other anonymous victims in the Destiny community. After this erupted, he changed his username from Irish Laddie to Vaush to escape culpability. Again, I don't know if that's why he did it. I can't verify this next claim, but someone who still watches his streams said he was sexualizing me on stream, saying that I had incestual fantasies about my brother. I don't have either in parentheses. Maybe there's going to be a link to this. I don't know. We'll have to see. I can't verify this next claim, but someone who watches his stream... Oh, wait, I already read that. Sorry. I wholeheartedly believe he, to this day, has no respect for people's boundaries and no concept of consent. I do agree that he had no concept of consent. He thought that he was asking for consent, right? By being like, oh, do you consent to me sending dick pics? And then she said no, and he didn't send them. So I guess he's respecting consent in that way. But consent is more complicated than that, right? So, again, I think that Vaush does have, and I fucking hate this term, he does have some toxically masculine tendencies. By that, I don't mean it's toxic to be masculine. I think that the way men are conditioned in society, sadly, enables this type of behavior. Like this whole being crude towards women thing is seen as, like, you know, based and childlike, and the women secretly like it. And this is something that I think that Vaush has engaged in way too much. It's strange how the morally righteous people tend to be terrible people. I don't think this necessarily means that Vaush is still a terrible person. I think at the time he definitely was a terrible person based on this, because, yeah, that's fucked up. I believe that people can change. I believe that Vaush can change. But, yeah, this was fucked up. But again, this was years ago. So, while what he did was fucked up, I don't know if he even realized what he was doing was fucked up. Like, I genuinely believe that he genuinely thought he was in the right. I think he genuinely thought he did nothing wrong for a while. And then he started to realize, oh, maybe I did a little bit wrong, but at the same time, they're blowing it out of proportion, and their main motive here is still to paint me in a negative light. I think that it comes from a place of ignorance and him genuinely not understanding the fucking levity of what he had done. Also, another thing... Oh, wait, sorry. No concept of consent, as evidenced by him stealing his website CSS from another streamer's SYS admin. I don't know anything about that. I've heard about it, but I don't know. Should have pulled a dream, yeah. I mean, he kind of did, but, like... I mean, he did upload a video, like, about everything he'd been canceled for. Also, another thing, the non-binary person he harassed, he claims... Me and them conspired, quote unquote. I don't like this person at all, and I have not talked to them outside of 1 week. Yeah, he grasped at straws. Okay, I agree. If he did that, that's grasping at straws. I have already mentioned what would make me believe change. A direct apology to both me and other victims, both private and public. 2, so that would be 1. 2, a willingness to learn about sexual boundaries and consent from feminists. The from feminist part sounds kind of funny, but I kind of agree with that. I get where she's coming from. 3, an overdue break from sexual commentary and quote jokes and slur usage, i.e. listening to the victim. Okay, that's fucking bullshit. Like, oh, you're not allowed to make jokes or use slurs. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're coming out about your legitimate negative experience with Vaush. I mean, sure, maybe you're a little bit hyperbolic, but that's okay. He sexually harassed you. And you're focused on him using slurs. This makes it difficult for me to take her seriously. Like, what does that have to do? Like, why would he have to change having an edgy sense of humor in order to not be like a piece of shit in like a sexual sense? Like, that has nothing to do, like, victims of what? Slur usage? Okay. Criticizing others who endorse rapists. Can expand on this? Like, who? Like, what? I feel like that's, like, what? That, I find that, like, a strange thing. Like, you don't have to, okay. A 5-figure Anon donation to a sexual assault legal clinic or charity since he claims to make 6. Wait, why would it have to be Anon? How would you know if he did an Anon donation if it's anonymous? Okay. 6, revocation of every time he has smeared me or any other victim involved. I think that that's fair. Assuming that he smeared Poppy, which it seems like he did. 7, cease using websites like CSS source code, which he stole from. I don't care about that. That has nothing to do. Anyways, she has a post on Destiny subreddit about it, which it sheds even more light and makes Vaush and his circle of friends look somehow even worse. I don't care if Vaush's friends are in the wrong or whatever. Goes into great detail about how she was harassed by Vaush for a long time, and then harassed by his friends and fans, urging to silence her. I don't know if that's what he said, but maybe that's what his actions said. Vaush, quote, apologized publicly for this only when there was backlash, and that was affecting his audience. After spending months and months of trying to harass her into silence and paint himself as an innocent victim, even in that, quote, apology, he nonetheless refused to admit anything close to the true extent of what he had done, and just framed himself as a quirky guy who made some mistakes. I mean, he is a quirky guy who made some mistakes, but they are pretty bad mistakes. There is also another, but like, what, you're not going to show the apology, or there's also another confirmed victim of him named Pastel, but little evidence of his interactions with her have surfaced. So if there's little evidence, then that wouldn't be confirmed. So why would you put the word confirmed? I think the word alleged would suffice. Vaush admitted to various questionable practices with his pets, while also on the same day arguing that bestiality should not be illegal and that it was morally okay. So that sounds like it's out of context. It sounds like a debate bro thing where basically what happened was he was making an argument of moral consistency. And one of my geckos will run down and jump on my dick like they're giving me a full hand job. That sounds like a joke or like him exaggerating. Like if you're in your own home, right? You're in the comfort of your own home and you're naked. I think that's fine. And then if whatever, the gecko jumps down and then they jump on their dick. And it's like they're doing it in a way that makes you like he would be describing this because it makes him uncomfortable, right? And then here he says, yeah, consent is irrelevant for animals. Even pets get no say in being locked up, taken away, fixed, or euthanized. I don't think bestiality should be a crime. I think that he was making an argument of consistency. Like, this seems very out of context. Like, I think he was making fun of the absurdity of somebody else's position. This wouldn't be the first time that somebody has taken an argument he's made out of context. Like, I'm glad that they brought some of the stuff that he said that was definitely sexual harassment to light, but, like, really, this? You're gonna say he's in favor of bestiality when he's obviously making an argument of consistency? Like, for the 5 trillionth time, like... I put a gecko on my dick for a picture once, and it licked it. Mlem. That sounds like a joke, but he should not say that. That's fucking weird. Although maybe you're not, and then somebody, Cookie53 says, although maybe you're not actually asking and instead just want to talk about your sexual exploits with animals. And then Vaush says, sometimes the male geckos will be running around and I'll poke their balls because they're so big and squishy. I don't think he's doing that in a sexual way, but that is fucking weird. But okay. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I hope he doesn't do that anymore. But if he's not doing it in like a sexual way, I don't know. But yeah, that's Vaush admitted to having masturbated to drawn CP, aka Lolly, even saying that he thinks everyone's done it. Okay, this is the thing that's taken out of context a lot. Making the kind of company that he gets very questionable as, quote, everyone has definitely not done it by his own standards, which he has outlined later after rebranding himself as anti-CP and anti-PDF files. This means that he is likely attracted to real children. No, so the argument he was making, I don't think he ever said everyone has masturbated to CP or drawn CP or Lolly. Or, and no, he says, so by his own standards, like this is not true. By his own standards, what? Like he, so there's a streamable thing. So let's see.
Okay, next question. Simulated child porn, lolly stuff.
I think it's pretty sussy.
Was that?
Yeah, that's true.
I think that if you have an interest in that sort of stuff, you should definitely be checking yourself as to why. You know, like
that's a good point.
The thing that really bothers me about this shit, apart from the fact that anytime you want to look at like hentai on a hentai site, you have to like negate the tag lolly and thus 50% of the site's content. The thing that
yeah, that's true.
bothers me is people who pretend there's no relationship whatsoever between like drawn lolly shit and actual attraction to children. There's of course.
Yeah, of course there is. Okay, so what is he saying here that's such a
There's a
problem?
relationship between those things. Ridiculous to pretend otherwise. So they need to be aware of that, if anything.
So where is he saying that everyone has masturbated to it?
Nice right now? We've all jerked it to lolly at some point or another. We've all... Well, you don't have a penis. We have all... We have at some point in our lives been going fucking crazy on some hentai
Sounds like an out-of-context joke. Again, I would need the context. What was the chat that he's responding to?
site, and we've been fucking stroking as hard and fast as we can, and then after we nut, we go back, look over our history chat, and we go like, oh, jeez. Oh, boy. Some of these girls looked pretty young. Okay? I don't give a fuck, all right? That's...
Okay, next question.
Okay. I mean... I can't tell if that's a joke or not, but I'm gonna assume that it is. So I get the point that they're making is they think that that's him admitting to it, but Vaush has a long history of arguing that CP should be illegal, arguing against the age of consent. No. He was arguing that by other people's standards, that CP should not, or sorry, that by other people's standards, it's called a reductio ad absurdum, okay? And that's just a fancy word for showing how absurd somebody else's framework is, right? And he was arguing that by somebody else's framework that they accept, CP should be legal, and the age of consent shouldn't exist by their own logic. That it's literally just taking out of context reductio ad absurdum arguments, just taking out of context jokes. And then I'm supposed to take this document seriously. So, combined with this long history of arguing against the age of consent, the implications are obvious. So, all right. So, out of context DMs, of course. So, here's Vaush in 2018 saying, "The way I see it, the age of consent exists out of respect for the numerous power imbalances older people have over younger people. True. As those imbalances, or at least some of them, are redressed through the advent of socialism, the age of consent should therefore be lowered. Oh, okay. Oof. That's not good. I would need to know the context. I've always wanted to discuss this really interesting article I read about the sexual dynamics of pre-colonial Hawaiian civilization because they sure had no problem fucking kids, and the anthropological evidence seemed to suggest there wasn't a culture of child abuse. There's literally nothing wrong with the second thing. This I have a problem with. I disagree with lowering the age of consent, even through the advent of socialism. But I think that what he's trying to argue here is that, like, you wouldn't necessarily have as much of a reason to have it in the first place because socialism would fix certain issues that cause power dynamics. So maybe it could be, I don't know. I guess it would depend, but I disagree with him. So I'm not going to defend that, honestly. After receiving backlash for his obsession with children. Look, he said some things that were pretty cringe, but I don't think he was obsessed. He did a complete 180 on his stance. He stopped making pro-CP arguments and started saying the age of consent should be 21. A clear overcorrection on his part. I mean, sometimes people can change their positions, but okay. I don't see Vaush as the kind of person to lie about his positions. Like, otherwise he wouldn't say shit like this. That's an optics nightmare. He used to have worse optics than me. He cares more about optics now, but, like... he also denounces other creators with, quote, questionable views on these things, like YouTuber Mr. Girl, as if everyone has forgotten he was constantly saying the same just 2 years ago. Thing is you don't have to take Mr. Girl out of context to make him look bad. Oh, and this is the thing where Vaush was talking about basically why he hates the terminally online trans community. And then claiming that he's transphobic. And then that's the end of the document. So, yeah. Vaush ultimately addressed this. I'm not going to watch the entire thing. I'm going to end stream soon. I think it's called Vaush Everything I've Been Cancelled For. So, yeah. So, it's from 3 years ago. So, I'm going to link it in the description after I'm done. Oops, I don't want it to play at 3 times speed. It's how I normally watch videos. So, here's the video. I'm going to link it in the description of the VOD on YouTube. If you're on Kick, I'm sorry. And, yeah. So, it's called Almost Everything I've Been Cancelled For. And I think he does a fairly good job addressing everything that I haven't. But yeah, anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to smash like and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. I'm going to play part of this and then I'm going to end stream. Just so you get sort of an idea.
Just today, I posted a video about my new TikTok fan base, and one of the people in chat said, "Watch out, Vaush. The TikTok people are a double-edged sword. They may like you now, but they will cancel you over anything." And I didn't think much of it initially, because I don't care. But then I saw a comment a little bit down below where somebody said, "Just wait until the TikTok Zoomers see that Vaush has said the N-word." Pepe laugh. And then all the comments responding to it were, "Wait, he did what?" So I'm going to get out ahead of this one. And I'm actually going
I wish he put timestamps in this.
to do a very brief retrospective of all of the cancellation I have ever been subjected to over the course of this stream. I just thought it'd be a nice refresher, you know? I'm not ashamed of or afraid of any of my history, and I thought it could be a good... So for all of you who are aware of all of this, yeah, it's a lore stream. If you're aware of this, just sit back and laugh at those who, Pepe laugh, lack critical information. And if any of this bothers you, you don't have to watch me. Totally okay if you don't want to.
That's a good point.
I started my YouTube channel at the beginning of 2019 after having been a prominent chatter in the community of one Destiny over on Twitch, a person who
That's
does very
true.
similar things to me, just, you know, not a leftist. He's a debate bro as well. I was prominent in his community as a left-leaning user, and bouncing off the popularity I got from a member of his community, after speaking with Hassan and H Bomber Guy and a bunch of other background stuff, I started a channel initially creating prepared content that I actually edited, God forbid, but then
Yeah, I saw some of it. It's not as good as his newer stuff, I'd say. Though I will say I do miss his debates. He used to be super aggressive in a way that was really funny. I will say though, he has had a glow up. He used to look like this. He looks way more attractive now.
started doing live streams. The live streams started out small, 10, 20, 30 viewers, but quickly
That's like what I get.
started to get into the low hundreds, and I was beginning to get a little bit of prominence. The prominence that I had gained
I'm jealous.
was, if not cut short, at the very least abated by a severe bit of drama that took place that is now, in retrospective, known as the Poppy or the sexual harassment drama.
So that was like the one thing from the document that actually I agree is wrong for Vaush to, yeah, that he was in the wrong for, and also I disagreed with like whatever his past takes on certain things, but whatever.
Essentially, back in late 2017 and early 2018, I had a friend in Destiny's Discord named Poppy, and we were just internet friends, like we just talked. And over the course of our friendship, I was pretty fucking weird and creepy with her. Totally, 100%. The logs are publicly available somewhere out there in the ether.
Yep, we already looked at those, so he acknowledges it.
For completely unrelated reasons, we stopped talking in early 2018, and that was the end of it for about 2 years. The drama resurfaced and was made public just a few months after I started streaming, and in the
Personally, I'd address the sexual harassment, not the fact that I said the N-word. Yeah, like, well, obviously, the reason that he's addressing everything is because, obviously, if people are getting mad over him saying the N-word, they're gonna get mad over him actually doing something fucked up, but he's decided, okay, I'm just gonna address it.
fallout, I went on Destiny's stream and did a very poor job contextualizing the way
I mean, I'm gonna end stream soon. I'm not gonna play all of this, but, you know, hopefully I time it right so it's not, like, something that gets cut off mid-sentence, but, yeah. Anyways.
in which I had had those inappropriate engagements. So I was booted from Destiny's community, and that drama has stuck with me pretty substantively. I did do my best to fully contextualize that drama in a Reddit post that I wrote out, God, like 8 months ago, called a retrospective
wow.
on the sexual harassment drama. Now, and I will say this, yeah,
And notice how he uses the same term that I use, sexual harassment, not grooming, because he wasn't grooming anybody.